We're on the wrong side of the table, but we're on the right side of history because we're here to tell you about a founding father that you probably haven't heard about. Maybe you heard about a little pamphlet he wrote, but you don't know about all the crazy stuff that this man did. We're entering into the age of Paine today on
Too Many Tabs.
Remember to smile.
Welcome to Too Many Tabs, a podcast where a husband and wife duo sit next to each other at a table. And this time, the husband's on the wrong side.
Yeah, and you did all the writing.
And I did all the writing.
And research.
And I did everything this week.
I know.
It's been fun for Mrs. P.
It's been incredible.
Because Mrs. P is getting ready to go on vacation.
I need a vacation.
Yeah, we're going to be off for the next 2 weeks. So enjoy this episode. And while you're enjoying this episode and then wondering where the next one is, watch Mrs. P's ghost hunting video.
I have a new one. I went to Asbury Park, New Jersey, and a weird marionette puppet might have followed me back to the hotel room. I'm going to link it below.
Yeah, it's a really fun girly pop ghost hunting video that was lovingly and incredibly edited by Mr. Third.
Shout out Mr. Third, Eagle Noise.
That's right, and we're giving Mr. Third an Eagle Noise because it is July 4th weekend at the time we're posting this video, which means it's the 250th anniversary of America. And God, what the fuck is a dark goddamn anniversary it is this year.
Yeah.
It's really a bad
We're having
one.
a time. We need to light the fireworks so that we can brighten up our moods.
That's kind of what it is. We do need to cut through the darkness with explosions of fireworks, mirth, merriment, and barbecues. But why do we even have a 4th of July in the first place, Mrs. P?
I think it's because we declared independence from the British.
Yes, and why and who inspired all of that?
Oh no, I didn't know this was gonna be a quiz. Okay,
I'm gonna tell you. Don't worry about it. All right. I don't want to put your Catholic upbringing and schooling immediately on blast in front of everybody because I'm gonna throw out some names of some founding fathers. Real
Okay,
fast.
let's go.
Let's see if you know them. And these
Okay.
listeners at home, play along. See
Yeah,
if you
sure.
remember who I'm talking about. Number one,
Sure.
have you ever heard of the name George Washington?
great wig.
Yep, from the Money.
From the
All right.
money.
Number two, Thomas Jefferson.
Boo.
Okay, from the Money. He's on the $2 bill.
Okay.
All right. What about Alexander Hamilton?
Oh, from the Broadway show.
He's also on the $10 bill. How about Benjamin Franklin?
Shout out Philly baby.
Yeah, $100 bill. But have you ever heard of a very, very, very famous viral pamphleter, Thomas Paine?
I've never heard of a viral pamphleter in my life.
Okay.
What does that mean? And who is Thomas Paine?
All
It
right.
does sound like a wrestler name.
It
Like
does.
Paine.
I bring the pain.
Thomas Paine.
So Thomas Paine was a bankrupt English corset maker who traveled to Philadelphia and anger translated the rage of the 13 original colonies into a revolutionary force, and he was the first person to ever say the name United States of America in print.
Okay, but how do you go bankrupt making corsets?
Yeah, so the thing is he's not really good at business. We're going to get into
okay.
that a little bit more, but what do you need to know about pamphlets?
Yeah, pamphlets I don't understand.
Yeah, pamphlets are like the TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe like the YouTube essay of their day.
Okay, so he's looking directly in the camera alone in a room and making an essay.
No, he's not looking into a camera. Cameras didn't exist back then. This is from 1776.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
this
why I
is
said
a history,
200
comedy history podcast.
Yes, talking about 250 years ago.
Eagle noise.
Okay, all right. Enough with the eagle noises, guys.
No. I didn't have to do an episode this week. I get to just talk about buttons and noises.
Okay, so what you need to understand about Thomas Paine is that you have probably never heard of him.
No, I don't know who that guy is.
Because most people only know about one pamphlet, but what they don't know is that he pissed off basically every rich person that he ever met on both sides of the Atlantic. He then insulted George Washington, Jesus Christ, and every religion in the world, was nearly murdered by the French Revolution, only to return to America and only have 6 people attend his funeral, and then his bones were stolen and lost.
This guy sounds pretty cool, I want to be
He
honest.
fucking rules.
He sounds pretty cool.
The more I read this guy's shit, the more I was like, everyone should know about him. He wrote a bunch of major works. The one that most people hear about in like high school is his main pamphlet, Common Sense. But he also wrote American Crisis, The Rights of Man, and Age of Reason. All of them were bestsellers of their day. Many of them were banned by multiple governments, including the Chinese government of today. They made poor people too horny for liberty. And as I was reading his stuff, I got a freedom boner that won't be satiated until I fire fireworks over a barbecue. Eagle noises.
Oh, so he can eagle noise. That was a lot, and I'm very excited to learn more about this man.
Yes, you should be. Because Thomas Paine was born in Norfolk, England in 1736.
Okay.
To Joe and Francis.
Okay, Joe and Fran.
Yeah, Joe and Fran Paine. No E.
Okay, no E.
So Thomas Paine spells it with an E.
Oh, he added an E.
He added the E later.
Oh, bougie.
Nobody knows.
Diva.
Nobody knows
alert.
where. Thomas's dad was a Quaker who worked as a stay maker.
Let's go, Quakers, out the gate.
I know, always with the Quakers. He was a stay maker. Do you know what that is?
No.
Corset. It's just another word for corset.
Wait, so okay, hold on.
Yeah.
His dad had a corset business and then he failed at it?
Yeah, he became an apprentice and learned how to make corsets from his dad.
And okay.
And his dad like taught him the ways of the corset. He was apprenticing.
Whale bones, lacing.
All that different stuff, lacing it up. And he was for men. This thing is back then, corsets were for men and women.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
the boys back then were fancy. They wore bows.
Yeah, they didn't have Wagovi.
Capris, wigs.
So
is this a Pride Month episode?
It might still be. There is a lot of makeup involved. So as a boy, all right, he's around the age of like 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
The first true worldwide war kicked off.
Okay.
I didn't want to say world war.
No.
Because everyone in me will go, oh, like with the Germans. The Germans were involved, but the sides were mad different.
Okay.
This was called the 7 Years' War.
Yes.
This is a very, very famous war that most people don't really learn about because it's from like a weird period of history that nobody gives a shit about because it's right before capitalism really kicks off in the Industrial Revolution.
Oh.
So most of us in America will learn about the French and Indian War,
Sure.
which George Washington's involved with, and it's like a fight over like the Ohio Valley and some other shit. And it's really about how the British ended up conquering Canada. But at the same time, this is a war of Great Britain and Prussia teaming up against France and Austria with a bunch of other countries involved.
Okay.
And most of the fighting happens in the colonies. So it truly is. It's like on the Indian subcontinent. It's off the coast of South America.
It.
It's all over the world this fighting is happening. And it's over 7 years. And young Tommy Paine gets swept up in the fervor.
Okay.
And he wants to sign up desperately to join an English privateer ship.
Okay. So he wants to be a little pirate.
Yeah, a privateer is a state-sanctioned pirate.
Yes.
And he wants...
I learned that from that movie with Johnny Depp.
The movie with Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yes.
Yes, privateer. So he wants to sign up for this English privateer ship, and it was specifically a 26-gun ship named Terrible.
Wait, what?
It was a boat called Terrible.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good name.
Guess what the name of the captain was?
What?
Captain William Death.
Wait, shut up. So Tommy Paine got on the Terrible boat with Captain Death?
So he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't because his dad was like, do not get on that boat.
Bad vibes.
You were such a little boy. And literally ours is asleep right now. I can see it right there.
I got the monitor.
We got the monitor making
Baby's
sure I don't
asleep.
yell him awake. But he basically was like, you're my little angel, baby. I refuse to let you get on that privateer ship with Captain William Death. It's called the Terrible. It's actually a really good thing he didn't because Captain Death died 1 year into the 7 Years' War.
Okay.
And the Terrible was captured by the French ship Vengeance.
Vengeance captured Terrible.
They had really cool boat names. This was back when people used to know how to name now they're like, oh, it's the USS Gerald Ford. No,
Boo.
Vengeance. Terrible.
Boo. When I get a pontoon boat, can I name it something cool?
Sure.
Yes.
You can name it Terror. That's fine. So Tommy Paine, though, eventually did join a privateer ship.
Okay.
He did become a sailor.
Sure.
He served aboard the privateer ship named King of Prussia.
Wait, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay, the King of Prussia is an area in the Philadelphia suburbs.
We filmed our last episode there.
Yeah, and our Ellen-looking studio we rented. We can't do that again, so now it's 10 p.m. at night, and we're filming after the baby went to bed.
Yeah, and it's still 90 degrees outside.
It's so hot.
So hot.
Well, for you.
For me.
No, King of Prussia is a huge mall.
Yeah, it's like the third largest mall, maybe the fourth largest mall now in America.
It's one of the only malls. They
For
closed
us
all the
now,
other ones.
yeah, every other mall around us keeps closing and being torn down to build a data center. Yay, that's why it's hot. But the King of Prussia, for the most part, this was during the 7 Years' War. The King of Prussia at the time was Frederick the Great.
Okay.
And everybody loved him, and they thought he was so fucking cool.
Freddie the Great.
Everybody just kept naming shit. They're like, the King of Prussia. And so that's just it's a name that sticks around. And in fact, I looked it up to make sure.
Yeah.
King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, is named after an inn/tavern
Okay.
that was in that town back in like the 1780s, 1790s.
Got it.
And that even some like Germans marching through. It was actually named King of Prussia because there were German mercenaries that were like in the area, and they're like, well, maybe they'll drink it if we named it after one of their kings.
Smart.
And then we just never dropped the name.
So there's going to be a whole town called Fuddruckers over there in like 100 years?
Probably. Almost definitely. So he joins the King of Prussia ship at the age of 19.
Sure. He waited till he was 18. Then his dad couldn't tell him shit.
Yeah, dad couldn't tell him shit. He's 19 years old. He goes on basically a 4-year tour, and at 23, he returns to England.
Yep.
He finally becomes a master corset maker.
Yep.
He opens his own shop. He gets married.
Sure.
His business folds immediately.
Oh, no.
And then his wife died in childbirth.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, so
That
he's
was
a
rough.
broke veteran widower at the age of 25.
Oh, man, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then what happened?
He becomes an excise officer.
What's that mean?
Basically, he's a customs agent.
Is it
And
custom? So he just looks at passports?
No, he charges people tariffs.
Oh, shut
So,
up.
like, if you're bringing something in on a boat, like across the English Channel, he walks and goes, "Hey, what's in there?" He's basically a meter maid.
Yeah.
So his job is to like count stuff and be like, "Oh, okay, how much you bringing? You got 2 bags of wheat. That's a tuppence."
A tuppence?
I don't know what the amounts were. They had weird numbers back then. It's a shilling, governor. Like that was what he was doing, type of
Yeah.
stuff. So he becomes a excise officer. Now it's a rough job.
Rough job. People might get mad at you.
Well, because everybody's smuggling.
Well, yeah, because it's like that parking wars show. Everybody curses out the parking meter maid.
Yeah, 100%.
And then that one lady has the hairspray.
Yeah.
Oh,
Parking
she was
Wars.
incredible. Let me tell you something. If you watch
know-
Parking Wars, the Parking Wars episodes that are filmed in Philadelphia, I know almost everybody in those episodes.
I knew 3 people who were actually like a focus of an episode.
I know someone who got a DUI on Parking Wars.
I know somebody who had their bike taken and then rode off into the sunset. Their bike was taken because they were caught driving without a license. And
Yeah.
at the end of the episode, they drive off still with no license. But he got really good at stealing copper from walls.
Yeah. Well, hey, tell them about the data centers.
Well, we're gonna tell him. I'm gonna Dylan. I'll find you. Okay, so now he's an excise officer.
Sure.
Everybody hates him. Everybody's smuggling. So he's like chasing smugglers around, and everyone's like, "You fucking suck."
You suck,
but it's like
dude.
it's also not enough money.
Okay, so he could be taking bribes, though. Then he'd make more money.
But he's not taking bribes because he's a man of principle. And one of the things that annoys him is that the excise job, the excise officer wage, has not been increased in 100 years.
So the minimum wage has not been raised in 100 years?
The minimum wage has not been raised. And so it's a whole thing.
Okay.
But eventually he gets transferred around. And he gets transferred to a town called Lewes.
You went to lose?
Yeah, not Lewis, Delaware.
No.
No, this is Lewes in Sussex. And he gets a room above a tobacco shop.
Sure.
And eventually, the landlord who owns the room above the tobacco shop and runs the tobacco shop itself, he dies.
Okay.
And Tommy Paine marries the dead landlord's daughter, Elizabeth Olive.
That's a weird way to get a wife.
It's a very odd way to get their life, but it's also like kind of common for back then.
Okay.
It was just like, oh, your dad's dead? What you doing with all that property?
I guess you just need someone to take care of all this property for you.
So that's what he did. They got married.
Okay.
And while he's there, he gets into radical republicanism.
Radical, so MAGA stuff?
No, this is good. This is the good type of.
Oh.
This is like, think more like Irish republicanism.
Okay, yeah,
But this
yeah.
is English republicanism.
All right.
Because you have to remember, this is about 100 years after the English Civil War.
Okay.
Well, the second English Civil War, technically the fifth.
Okay,
but
history
it doesn't
teacher.
matter. They've had a bunch of civil wars.
Yeah.
But this is after Oliver Cromwell and those guys.
Yo, fuck
and then
that
the
dude.
Glorious Revolution and others. And so there's still areas of England that were like, things were better when we killed the king. They would just sit around,
Well-
they'd get hammered. And even the dukes were like there was like a local duke who like is royalty, was like, we should still get rid of all the royals. Because there's a few of them around there. You know, occasionally you get a couple of them get sprinkled in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like the George Soros of his day. This guy is sitting around and basically he keeps writing this publication called Letter of Junius.
Okay.
Okay? And the thing is Letter
I don't
of-
think that would get good SEO on YouTube.
No, it'd be terrible SEO. That's the reason why like Thomas Paine isn't even going to get good SEO. So I have to call this like the
The House of Pain.
No, House of Pain is that is specifically a song.
Oh.
And I think like House of Pain is like already buried. There's so many things called the House of Pain.
Fine. Common sense?
No.
Because you said this thing was
That's
called
the name of the book. But Thomas Paine, the author of the pamphlet Common Sense.
Oh,
No, we have to
man.
go with like the founder that history forgot on purpose because of conspiracy. Dun dun dun.
Hell yeah, that's gonna slap.
It'll probably do something like,
Yeah.
or maybe you won't believe that how they buried the name of this founder, so you wouldn't know about liberalism.
Exposed. Pain and suffering on the terrible boat.
Yeah, I'll have to text Phil and ask exactly which ones to use. So anyway, the publication is this group of kind of letters and essays called Letter of Junius. And the thing is it's named after Lucius Junius Brutus.
You just said 3 words that don't make any sense
That's one
together.
guy's name.
That's his name?
He was a Roman patriot.
And?
Lucius Junius Brutus is the semi-legendary Roman patriot who chased the last Etruscan king out of Rome and founded the Roman Republic.
Sure.
So these guys, and this is around the time in the 1700s, they're really learning a lot about like the ancient world because like archaeology is being invented.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we could dig stuff up and maybe we can like read it.
And then they're going to eat all the mummy bones.
Well, they do that too on the side, and they all mummy bones and black people. But that's a different subject completely. But so he's part of this thing where he's writing these letters, and he's joining in, and he's like starting to write. He's learning how to publicize, and we don't know for certain. And he wrote for this, but there's a lot of historians have looked at certain works from this publication, and they think this is Thomas Paine because it has a lot of similarities.
Okay.
And all of them were using pseudonyms.
Something it. They didn't want to get caught by the government.
They didn't want to get caught. Yeah, they're all using fake names. So the same way, like right now, we all log into the internet and we go by Pearlmania 500 or something like this. A lot of these different guys are calling themselves Junius. The Duke, specifically, he used Junius because he had already used the pen name Lucius and Brutus. And yes, by the way, Lucius Junius Brutus is related to the same Brutus that killed Caesar.
Oh, perfect.
It's like a distant relative.
Nice.
And so that's why everybody brought it up. When Julius Caesar declared himself dictator, dictator for life, they were like, Brutus, come on, like your ancient ancestor. And he was like, guys, come on, leave me alone. That's my uncle Julius. He's like, oh, you should be like, fucking come on. Stab him a little. So that was the whole thing. So Thomas Paine gets super into writing for this work. And this is important because the things he's writing are actually treasonous.
Oh, yeah.
And they're seditious. And if this was America, you would be tried and then put in jail for 50 to 100 years for that because we now arrest people for passing along zines.
Yeah, magazines. Yeah.
Magazines. That's a real thing that happened like this
100
week.
years.
Yeah, guy got 30 years, wasn't even at the protest.
Yeah.
Moved a box of magazines, and they said that's terrorism.
Yeah, his girlfriend, I guess, got 100 years, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, he is working and writing and doing these letters, and he's actually also writing in the publications, defending the fact that some of the publishers have being stopped from being able to print these letters.
Okay.
Because again, remember printing, but not everybody had a printing press.
Yeah.
Not everybody had that Epson printer in the other room that doesn't fucking work.
Well, Barry Weiss is in charge now, so you can't get anything through the CBSs.
Yeah, exactly. And so they had to use these giant printers, and it took a lot of work and manpower, and it cost money. And so that was how they did. And this guy was printing it as part of his business, and then they came in, and the government was like, "Stop doing that."
Yeah.
And so he was writing letters, going, "He should still be allowed to do that."
Yeah,
going to other printers and printing that. In 1772, Thomas Paine joined a labor movement of excise officers who petitioned Parliament for a raise.
Okay, he's trying to raise the wages for the parking meter
he
guys.
literally was like, the minimum wage has been the same for 100 years.
Shh, the baby is sleeping.
I'm sorry. Paine published his first official work. It was titled The Case of the Officers of Excise.
Okay.
Yeah, he distributed 4,000 copies and was then promptly fired as an excise officer.
Oh, yeah, you got to fire that guy who's trying to unionize.
Well, it's not so much that he was trying to unionize. It was that he left his post without asking.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, because he was, he's in Sussex, and he left Sussex and went to London to go petition Parliament. They're like, well, if you're here, then you're not doing your excise job. And did you ask? Did you file for PTO?
Oh, we don't offer PTO?
Yeah, no. So basically, he gets fired as the excise office. Mm-hmm. The tobacco shop fails. And then he was about to be thrown into debtor's prison.
Bro, okay, listen.
Yeah, you're going to pause
Listen to me. How the fuck?
It was basically a vape shop.
The corsets was one thing. I was like, I don't know how you could not make corsets work because bitches love to be skinny. An hourglass waist for the boys and girlies, because back then the boys were doing it too. Selling a corset to the boys and girlies, that's $1 million business. I don't know how you failed at that, but I'm going to say his wife got sick. That might have made the business go under.
Yeah.
But then tobacco? You couldn't sell tobacco?
It was basically a vape shop.
Tobacco sells itself.
It's basically a small town vape shop. He's selling an addictive product and he couldn't sell it well.
You get the people, you give them the first cigarette free. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And then you have to yell at your husband for a decade to quit. And then every day, every morning and every night, he looks at you and goes, just let me have one fucking cigarette. And I say, you're not going to have one cigarette ever again because we have to take care of our child. You're not smoking. And they're that addictive and you can't sell them? Mm-hmm. I'm so confused by this man's lack of business attitude.
Yeah, so what he ended up doing is he had to sell everything he owned because in England at the time, if you owed money, they could throw you in prison.
Yeah, they're bringing that back.
It's called debtor's prison.
Yeah, they're bringing that back.
And he also separated from his wife because, you know, he lost her family business.
Yeah, I was about to say, she was probably pissed, dude.
So they got separated.
She's like, they're addicted to this shit, dude.
And so in 1774, Thomas Paine moved to London.
Okay, great.
So he goes to London.
Moving to the big city.
And guess who he meets?
In London.
Yeah, guess who he meets in London in 1774?
1774. Okay, I'm gonna make a guess because you brought him up earlier. Is it Benny Frank?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
He met Benjamin Franklin.
I know he was over there waiting for a trip to go to Paris to meet his girlies.
Well, so Benjamin Franklin was in London because he was petitioning Parliament to stop being dicks to the colonists. Because this was during a time when they were still like, there was a thing called reconciliation that people were really trying.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks that we went from zero to revolution, but we didn't. We spent about 20 years being like, please stop being a dick. Please stop being a dick. Please stop being. And they were like, stamp tax, intolerable acts, Townsend acts, tariff. And they're like, fuck you. And so Benjamin Franklin was very well respected and loved. And so he was like hanging out.
Respectability politics is what we call it now.
It is what he was calling it.
Oh, maybe what's his name will write another strongly worded fucking letter.
Yeah, basically. But he had more swag than Chuck Schumer. So Ben Franklin's over there like, hey, let me try. But he's also hanging around with like the science societies and stuff like that. And so he meets Thomas Paine and he's like, reads some of his work and he goes, hey, you're a pretty good writer. And honestly, you seem pretty miserable here. England kind of sucks. And you're a Quaker. Have you ever thought about Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
Oh, hell yeah. You got this to go to Philadelphia hardcore.
And so literally he's like telling him all about Philly. He's like, it's a Quaker paradise, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, here, I write him up a letter of recommendation. And he goes, take this if you get there before me.
Noted. I would like to bring back letters of recommendation.
Oh, we 100%.
Oh, you want to move to Philadelphia? Where's your letter of recommendation?
Yeah.
I need that signed and stamped.
But it's also for work because, again, now we do background checks. Now we just go in, we type in somebody's name, it pulls up their entire background history, we do credit checks, all those things. Back then, they didn't have that. You just had to have some other dude vouch for you on his name. Yeah. And then if you fucked up, it hurt him. And Ben Franklin was like, you're kind of special.
Yeah.
I like you. You're mad in the right ways.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm seeing something.
You're kind of sexy when you're angry. So Thomas Paine got on a boat, and that boat landed on the shores of the Delaware River.
Do we have a name for this boat?
I did not find a name for the boat.
All right.
I just know
Awesome boat who made it.
Yeah, we'll just go with Bodie McBoat.
Okay, great.
So Bodie McBoat landed on the shores of the Delaware River at the Philadelphia Harbor on November 30th, 1774.
Great.
And a little bit later is when Thomas Paine finally got off the boat because typhoid broke out on the ship.
Oh, I got to keep him on the ship
And he got super sick to the point where he wasn't able to walk. And Ben Franklin's personal doctors actually arrived to check on him, and they physically carried him off of the boat. And then he had to spend weeks getting better. And then once he was finally healthy enough, he then swore allegiance and became a citizen of Pennsylvania.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because back then, when you were a colony, you still swore to like the individual colonies themselves.
Well, I swore an oath to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we swear an oath to our country of Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I die for my country.
Yeah. Eagle noise. You know what? Actually, with that, let's eagle noise right away to a sponsor. Summer feels good. Your clothes should too. And right now, summer is so hot. That means I have the air conditioners on, which means that Mrs. P is cold.
I'm very cold.
Which is why we're thankful for Quince, because Quince keeps you comfy and keeps a cold Mrs. P warm in the summer.
That's right, because they have beautiful cotton sweaters. This is the perfect beach sweater. You know what I mean? Like at night when you're on the boardwalk and it's a little breezy and chilly, this is the type of cotton sweater that works at the beach, and also when your husband has the air conditioning down to, what's that say, -50 in here?
Okay, well it's Celsius, but that's fine. Okay.
Also, I have a necklace. I don't know if you can see it. Whoa, it's a little pearl necklace. Isn't it cute?
That is cute.
This is also from Quince.
It's a pearl necklace for Pearl Mania.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm wearing Quince perfume.
Oh, really? Let me smell. Oh, that smells lovely.
I know, right? You can get anything at Quince.
You know what? It's not just clothing. Quince is your one-stop shop for home travel luxury. They have high-end furniture, durable waterproof luggage, and even organic supplements and vitamins. If you're looking for a gift for someone special, Quince makes beautiful 14-karat gold jewelry at amazing prices.
Or you can just get it for yourself like I did.
Quince partners directly with ethical factories and top artisans. No middlemen means you spend 50 to 60% less than similar brands. Make your summer wardrobe easier with Quince. Go to quince.com/TMT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to QUINCE.com/TMT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TMT. So it's 1774.
Yeah.
Thomas Paine just reaches Philadelphia.
He can walk.
He can walk finally. And he starts talking to people. And he finds out about this new magazine.
Okay.
Guess what the magazine's called?
I have no idea.
Pennsylvania Magazine.
Okay,
They were
great.
really good with titles back then.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
really fucking cool. Now, Pennsylvania Magazine was important because a lot of people had tried colony-wide magazines. These were magazines that were going to be printed and distributed all over the eastern coast of America.
No, regional. Got to make them regional.
No, but
One
there have been
spot.
some smaller ones. There's smaller printings and things like that.
Yeah.
But everyone kept trying. And in fact, 16 basically colony-wide magazines had started and failed.
Okay.
But Pennsylvania Magazine was going to be different.
Hell yeah,
Because
dude.
Pennsylvania Magazine, in its first issue, they had Tom Paine write 2 articles.
All right.
And the owner of the magazine was like, this shit slaps.
Okay.
This is really good. What are your thoughts on becoming editor? And he was like, all right, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah,
Shit,
dude.
yeah. And with Tom Paine as editor, the magazine immediately became a huge success, selling copies across all of the colonies. It blew up immediately. And you know what the secret was? Tom Paine writes in plain language and doesn't care about rich people.
Okay.
He literally was like, why don't we just write for normal people? There's more of them.
Yeah.
But every other magazine was writing for people who were like highly educated and had like a snuff box and a kerchief.
Yeah.
And he was like, I mean, as long as they can fucking read, they can buy the magazine. So
Yeah.
why are we writing dispensation in highfalutin language? He was
Yeah.
like, no,
Hey,
write normal.
government sucks, huh?
Yeah, fuck the government. That's basically what, and this is actually a problem for him, actually.
Okay.
Because the owner of the magazine kept being like, please don't make it political. And he was like, okay, not to quote too many tabs, everything is political.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Thomas Paine fucking rules. He writes about he couldn't help writing about like everything. He talks about workers' rights, and he even published an anonymous essay titled "African Slavery in America" that demanded the end of the transatlantic slave trade.
Okay.
And everybody knew he wrote it.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Oh, I don't know." And they're like, "It's you." It's in the all caps.
He changed his name to like Palmas Tame.
No, he would change his name to shit like Republicus. He would do these like crazy names that were always, one of his names he chose at one point was like the Forester. It was just
Okay.
always like, it was like borderline.
Okay.
It's like borderline bad DC characters, like
Yeah.
C-tier DC characters. He's always running in the side.
I like that he's talking in all caps.
Yeah, he does that a lot. Also, he's using, this is during a time, by the way, of the long S.
I don't know what that means.
It was a special printing type. So one thing that happens, you know how they recently had the UFC fight
Yeah.
at the White House? Mm-hmm. There was a moment where I think it's the Declaration of Independence. It's the Declaration of Independence is on the wall inside the White House now, inside the Oval Office. There's a copy of it there. And one of the fighters, right before he went out, had like the American flag around. He's like looking at it. And he's like, "Oh man, I can't even understand it. They just wrote so different." Everybody gave the guy shit. The thing is they did write different.
Yeah.
There was a time where the printers actually were so annoyed with Gothic lettering that they created what's called the long S and gave it special rules. So we're used to normal S.
Yeah.
Right? The long S looks almost like an F, like a lowercase f with the hook. Yeah, there you go. Pull it up. Long
I'm
S
gonna look at
printing.
it. Oh.
So it's that. And so the rule for the long S is that if that's at the beginning of the word or the middle, you do it long. But if it's at the end, you do the normal S.
Okay.
And if it's a capital S, you do a normal S.
I don't. This is like when the girls in summer camp used to be like blah 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 blah.
What?
You know what I'm talking about?
No. I was
Okay.
never a girl in summer camp.
Well, that's your fault.
I know. I've been working on it ever since. Anyway, during this time, though, he's writing all of these different things, and they're all getting printed, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal, okay? And one of the things that Thomas notices is that there's something special in the air. Right around the time he had gotten there had been brewing issues between the British crown and the local colonists.
Yeah, he showed up at 1774.
Yeah, 1774. Shit's about to go down.
Yeah, I was about to say, the air was probably sizzling.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And everyone could feel that something was happening, but nobody could quite put a word on it.
Yeah.
There was the taxes issue, there were protests, there was the Boston Massacre, and more. The colonists were arguing amongst themselves, but also internally, each of them themselves, about what their relationship was with England, with the Great Britain and Parliament. And many of them often were also arguing that the king actually doesn't understand what's going on.
No.
There's a thing, I talked about it before in other episodes, good czar, bad boyars, this idea that if you could just get past the king's ministers, if you could just get around, like if you look at it today, there's people out there who believe that if they could just get Donald Trump away from Stephen Miller, then he wouldn't be a Nazi. But he's also a rapist pedophile. So there's like things in there that you're like, oh, these type of things. But this happens a lot, especially with, absolute dictators, where the people want to love the ruler. They just do. And these people were all English for the most part. Many of them were English, and they were raised to believe in the king. They had propaganda pushed in their brain their entire life. Their education told them, their religion told them that he is the king. He is the divine right of kings. And so they're arguing with themselves. They're English subjects. And they all kept having this fallback that eventually this is going to get smoothed over and they're going to go back in with England. But then April 19th, 1775 happened.
Okay, April 19th, 1775. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, so they just didn't teach you about the revolution, huh?
What are you talking about?
Okay, have you ever heard of Lexington and Concord?
No.
Exactly. That's what I thought. That's what I fucking thought. You ever heard of Paul Revere?
Yeah.
That's what he was riding for.
Oh.
Basically, the local militias up there in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, they had all these guns, and then the British were like, we're gonna come take those fucking guns. And
you're gonna take an American's gun?
Exactly. That was the whole fucking problem. So the British showed up. Paul Revere did his midnight ride with a couple other guys. The British are coming.
Yeah.
And then there was a standoff, and then guns were fired.
Yeah, of course.
And then some people died.
Sure.
And then the British went and started the siege of Boston.
Sure.
So Boston was under siege from April 1775 on. I think it's
the Boston was just under siege recently because I had all the Scottish guys there in their kilts putting cones on stuff.
Yeah, but they weren't shooting people.
No, they were having a great time.
They were riding down the cop slide.
They closed.
They rode down the cop slide with a bagpipe.
Yeah, they also
Hold
drank
on,
them.
Mr. Third, put it in. Oh, you don't remember the cop slide? Mr. Third, put in the cop slide. And for the listeners out there, what you're hearing is the sound of a police officer going down a tube slide that I myself have ridden in Boston. It's terrifying. Okay, so go ahead. You were saying?
I don't remember. I was making a joke about how the Scottish were there and then they drank them out of house and home. The bars ran out of beer.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's
they actually ran out of
incredible.
alcohol.
Boston did.
Yeah, Boston ran out. But so this news about the siege
Sam Adams should be ashamed.
Sam Adams should be. And he was a founder too.
Exactly.
They put his name on a bottle. So Thomas Paine is looking around at this moment and he's hearing the news like everybody else is.
Yeah.
And this moment for him galvanizes him and he immediately goes, reconciliation is no longer an option.
Yes.
And in fact, as he's thinking about it more, he starts thinking about to what he's been talking about all the way back there in Sussex. And he goes, actually, not only is reconciliation not an option, hereditary monarchies are not the natural order. In fact, the entire system's a lie. And people have to be told this. In fact, I would need to sit down and write it all out. And he did. He wrote down a 4-part, 47-page pamphlet called Common Sense.
Yeah, so I know for a fact that that's happened in this house specifically, where somebody gets a thought about politics and then is like, I need to go up to my room. And then suddenly there's either a 2-minute TikTok video or a 10 to 15-minute YouTube video of you looking directly in the camera telling everybody what you think they need to know.
In very plain language.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did because other people have been talking about the issues, right? Whether it be in Boston and Philadelphia or down in Virginia, people have been talking about the issue of the crown and how no taxation without representation and all these other ideas that have been happening, the ideas of freedom and liberty and democracy and republics and more. And what he did is he sat down in a very, very plain language that could be easily read by anyone, but also, most importantly, in language that could be read by normal people aloud in taverns.
Okay.
To read it to people who didn't know how to read. While they're hammered.
Yeah, that's the best way.
And this is what it does. Common Sense is a pamphlet that walks the readers through arguments on the nature of societies versus governments, monarchies and hereditary succession, the current state of America as of January of 1776. And then the last section is all about how America needs to build a navy right fucking now, plus some pretty incredible ideas around how government should work and look and be set up. So Common Sense kind of really is the most viral thing to ever exist in America, maybe ever.
Really?
Yeah. So it is, if you take a look at the size of the population at the time versus how many copies that were sold, 20% of every American living in the colonies owned a copy. There were only 2.5 million Americans at that time. It sold 500,000 copies.
Got it.
So like now, if you saw like a video gets 500,000
So it's Titanic.
Yeah, it's
like, a VHS of Titanic.
It is 100%. It is a VHS. It's such a, you know what it is? It's a DVD of Finding Nemo.
Ooh, it's a DVD of Finding Nemo.
Call back to last episode. Yeah, so
Pig Latin.
Yeah, 1 out of every 5 people had a copy to themselves. And I did look it up to compare it to like the Super Bowl. The thing I had to keep in mind with the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl is only one night.
Yeah.
This kept selling.
Yeah.
And also there were illegal printings of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because
dude.
people would get it and they're like, oh, this shit's too good. I have to download it, rewrite it. It's like one of my fucking videos when suddenly I open up and I'm like, oh, there it is on Instagram.
And then there's this guy that does this.
That just points. You gotta listen to this.
You gotta listen to this.
And that's the guy who reads it aloud in the tavern to everyone. Yeah. Excerpts of it were being pulled. He goes through so many different things. It opens with the line, some writers have so confounded society with government as to leave little of no distinction between them. Society is every state a blessing, but government, even in its best state, is but a necessary evil. I want you to know, Mrs. P.
Yeah.
I've been reading this on my iPad.
Yeah.
For the last 2 nights while laying in bed next to you.
I did notice you were reading.
Yeah. Yes.
And it wasn't fiction, apparently.
It was not fiction. And it was not a comic book for once.
Yeah.
I was reading Thomas Paine's Common Sense, and then I was getting up and marching through the backyard with a musket. Ready to fix bayonets and run over a barricade. Because the shit slaps. It's so good because he goes through a thought exercise describing something that American colonists can picture.
Yeah.
A very primitive, early settler society.
Okay.
Anywhere in the world.
Sure.
And talking about like you're one person trying to survive on an island or a new continent. You're not gonna be able to survive. You don't have food. So you have to get some other people together. And then you work together and inside that you build a house. And then you realize, oh, we can go a next level if we have a couple more houses. And by that you build a state house. And it grows. And eventually you get to a certain size where you need to have rules. And then eventually rules have to become law. And then eventually this all turns into a government, but a government that is set up by the governed.
Yes.
And he goes, that's the natural order of how governments are born. He then pivots immediately to the English Constitution. Now, I know you know about the American Constitution with all the amendments. Mm-hmm. We just had the big argument about the 14th Amendment where 3 to 5, I think, of the, depending on who you're talking to, of the Supreme Court justices said the American Constitution isn't constitutional.
They're traitorous slugs. Anyway.
But when Thomas Paine starts talking about the English Constitution, the one thing you need to keep in mind is that it's not written down.
I'm sorry, what?
English Constitution doesn't actually exist.
They didn't write that shit down?
No, what they did is they have a series of laws and legal rulings and precedents over the years.
Okay.
That are kind of just like put together that people kind of vibe about. And they go, that's part of the Constitution. That's the Constitution of the nation.
So England has been colonizing the whole world and they have a ramshackle.
On vibes, babe.
This is insane.
They go around, they go, flag.
We're in charge. Don't ask us any questions about what our rules are.
Oh, that's a nice tea and spice. Flag. That's what they did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's 100% what they did. What he does as he's looking at the English Constitution and how scholars talk about it, he immediately declares it a failure.
Yeah.
He states that the English Constitution is made up of the king, the peers, which are the nobles, and the commons, and that they all claim to keep each other in check. But then he proceeds to point out that the fact that they keep each other in check makes them all invalid. And I'm going to use the exact language he said. These are the exact words. To say the Constitution of England is a union of three powers, reciprocally checking each other, is farcical, a joke. Either the words have no meaning or they are flat contradictions. To say the commons, meaning normal people and like the members of parliament, is a check upon the king presupposes two things. First, that the king is not to be trusted without being looked after, or in other words, that a thirst for absolute power is the natural disease of monarchy. Secondly, that the commons are being appointed for that purpose, are either wiser or more worthy of confidence than the crown. But as the same constitution which gives the commons the power to check the king by withholding the supplies, gives afterwards the king the power to check the commons by empowering him to reject their other bills, it again supposes that the king is wiser than those whom it already had supposed to be wiser than him, a mere absurdity. Later he says, how can the king, by a power which the people are afraid to trust and always obliged to check, such a power could not be a gift of a wise people, neither can any power which needs checking be from God. Because the point at this time of King George III is that King George is in power because God chose him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the parliament says, just in case he goes crazy, which he does, in case he goes crazy, we're around to check him. To which he points, you just said God is infallible and chose him, so why the fuck do we have a parliament of regular people who are allowed to give him any orders whatsoever?
Yeah.
And so in that moment, he just goes, hey guys, the emperor has no fucking clothes.
So then you just declare war on Iran and don't get congressional approval.
Yeah, that's basically 100% kind of what happens.
Yeah.
This whole section like breaks Americans' minds.
Yeah.
Because they literally haven't been thinking about it.
Yeah.
They've
been too busy.
Hey, no taxation without representation. Typhus. Like that's kind of how they've been walking around.
It's hard to process what's going on in the government when you're trying to get your bills paid and you're month to month on your rent and your bills aren't, you're racking up debt and the eggs are going up in price and the gas is going up in price. It's hard to focus on this stuff.
What's crazy is I want you to notice one thing.
What?
I only pointed out one word in there that might like catch people off guard, and that's farcical.
Yeah.
He writes the way we talk today.
Yeah.
No one else. Everyone else is to worth hath thither type of shit. If you read anybody else, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, these other guys, they all talk all fucked up.
Yeah.
And all highfalutin and shit.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo. And he's like, no.
They said, we're putting on our high heels and capri pants.
Yes, such a power could not be the gift of a wise people, neither can any power which needs checking be from God. You can't check what is God.
Bars.
It is a bar. And that's just section 1. He's got 3 more sections. In section 2, Paine questions that ultimately mocks the entire idea of kings and hereditary aristocracy.
Hereditary the movie?
No, just hereditary.
Okay.
Landlords, basically.
Yeah, landlords.
For the most part. He goes back to biblical texts and he goes through the Bible and starts just pulling quotes. And he uses each of these to point out directly that the idea of the divine right of kings is bullshit. And the thing is, you have to understand is Americans at this time had just done the First Great Awakening, where a lot of them, like people like Puff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these people who like read their Bible.
The public universal friend.
Public universal friend. There's people who read their Bible and they went, oh shit, that priest always said the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I didn't realize that this passage contradicts this thing. And we can there's so many things that we can use to justify other things. And he does that. He goes through it. He quotes Jesus directly, render unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's. But he points out that is actually saying that like most things are God's. Yeah. They're not Caesar's. And also he points out that in that moment, they were using that as justification of the Israelites and the Hebrew Bible and the Jews. Saying like that means that they can have kings and that kings are chosen by God. And he's like, no, actually, what that means is that the Jews got their shit rocked by the Romans and they were actually a vassal state at that moment and that they were unoccupied by an oppressive force, you fucking idiots. He then also goes into the idea of Samuel, who was a prophet and one of the early kings of the Israelites, and points out that Samuel kept trying to kill all of his fellow Jews because they kept being like, you should be the chief, you should be the king. And he was like, no, I hope you all die. He just kept, he's like constantly, he goes through the Bible, he's like, every part of the Bible literally says pharaohs are evil, kings are evil, monarchs are evil. You shouldn't have these hereditary organizations like this. You guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are you letting this weirdo in a crown say this shit to us? And he goes through this over and over and over again. And in fact, at one point, he gins up something. I know you're liking him right now. I can feel it.
Well, he sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, but then he went like really hardcore anti-Catholic because he's English.
Oh, well, that happens to them. They can't help it.
Yeah, he wrote the following: that the Almighty hath here entered. His protest against monarchical government is true, or the scripture is false. And a man hath good reason to believe that there is as much kingcraft as priestcraft in withholding the scripture from the public in popish countries. For monarchy in every instance is the popery of government.
The potpourri of government.
The potpourri of government. Fucking.
I wish I could buy a potpourri of government scented potpourri.
Oh,
cutesy.
I like that. I do miss times of people just screaming papist.
Yeah.
Maybe Trump will bring that back.
Probably.
He then openly attacks the idea of kingly birthright.
Okay.
Thomas Paine writes the following. This is supposing the present race of kings in the world to have an honorable origin. Whereas it is more than probable that we could take off the dark covering of antiquity and trace them to their first rise. That we should find the first of them nothing better than the principal ruffian of some restless gang, whose savage manners or preeminence in subtlety obtained him the title of chief among the plunderers.
Yeah, because history is written by the victor. So
Yes.
people that are vicious and aggressive and take over places and kill and murder and rape, those people win, and then they claim themselves and their own history.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I declare king and my son is king.
All of the early kings, especially from the medieval period, when you're looking at from the fall of Rome, especially, are protection rackets. These are mob bosses. And all of the early fights are mob bosses. You're watching mob bosses slowly turn legitimate and then slowly have kids who aren't good at being mob bosses get usurped.
Yeah.
That's 100% what most of them were. And he keeps going on because, as he points out, he's like, as Englishmen, we all know that your legitimacy comes from the biggest ruffian in the history of the world, William the Conqueror.
Yeah.
And he says, England, since the conquest, hath known some few good monarchs, but grown beneath a much larger number of bad ones. Yet no man in his senses can say that their claim, the English kings, under William the Conqueror, is an honorable one. He was a French bastard, landing with an armed of bandits and establishing himself king of England against the consent of the natives, is in plain terms a very paltry, rascally original. It certainly has no divinity in it. Yet I should be glad to ask how they suppose kings came at first. The question admits but of three answers. Either kings came by lot, by election, or by usurpation. And so basically what he claims that from that point forward is he goes, listen, we could read the Bible, we've read all these other histories.
Yeah.
You were either chosen because they're good around, they go, well, somebody's got to lead, draw straws.
Yeah.
Or somebody's got to lead, Jeff.
Yeah.
Or stab,
Yeah.
which is most of the last one.
Mostly the last one.
But his point then, he then goes into hereditary monarchy and goes into a whole thing about how hereditary monarchy is bullshit. Because if the first king was chosen by lots, then every king should be chosen by lots. And if he was chosen by electors, then every king should be chosen by electors.
Yeah.
And if he was a usurper, then he goes against God.
No, then they should all be chosen by...
Well, yes, basically. He's like, you can't pick and choose for different people. He points out that the chief argument for hereditary monarchy is that it lessens civil wars. That's what is always brought up.
Yeah.
But then he uses stats, and he goes, England has had 8 civil wars and 19 rebellions under 30 kings. He goes, we got, most of the time, there's a civil war or there's a rebellion.
The numbers aren't actually that good.
He's like, the numbers aren't good. And that's not even counting the amount of times an old king has died and left the crown to a child.
Yeah, 10-year-old.
Who then is stuck in a regency that then breeds another rebellion or has another issue. So he keeps going down this entire thing, and it's breaking people's brains. Because he's like, and this is the guy we're supposed to reconcile with?
Yeah.
So he keeps going into more and more of this. He starts pointing out that people are saying we have to stick with England because England protects us. He goes, do they?
Yeah, do they? Or are we in an abusive relationship with England?
Or, yes, 100%. He keeps saying, I offer nothing more than simple facts, plain arguments, and common sense. And he does that when he brings up the idea of the British Empire and how it doesn't protect Americans. It actually puts them in harm's way.
Yeah.
All right? We have boasted the protection of Great Britain without considering that her motive was interest, not attachment. That she did not protect us from our enemies on our account, but from her enemies on her own accord. From those who had no quarrel against us on any other account, and who will always be our enemies on the same account. He's like, basically, we're fighting the French because the French are fighting the British.
Yeah. We don't have to fight the French.
Or the Spanish.
No.
Or any of these people. It hath lately been asserted in Parliament that the colonies have no relation to each other, but through the parent country. Example, that Pennsylvania and Jersey and so on, for the rest, are sister colonies, but only by the way of England.
God.
Not sister colonies because they're neighbors, not because they know each other. Because this is certainly a very roundabout way of proving relationship, but it is nearest and only true way of proving enemyship, if I may so call it. France and Spain never were, nor perhaps ever will be our enemies as Americans, but as for being our subjects of Great Britain. He then goes back to being anti-Catholic, but pro-immigrant.
Oh, okay.
He says the phrase parent or mother country has been Jesuitistically adopted.
Nice.
I like the Jesuits.
Nice.
Jesuitistically adopted by the king and his parasites with a low papistical design of gaining an unfair bias on the credulous weakness of our minds. Europe, and not England, is the parent country of America. This new world hath been the asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty from every part of Europe.
Well, that's just true.
Yeah. Because he's pointing around. He's like, that guy's German. That one's Dutch.
Yeah.
All these people everywhere. He's like, everyone's coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
They're not all English. Once they land here, they have to swear allegiance to the king because it's a British colony. But they don't have to.
No.
He's like, if you love liberty, I think you should be cool here.
I love liberty.
I know you do. But he really keeps sticking on this European thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, and actually that he's like, we're not citizens of England, especially if you're here in America. But he says the following: admitting that we are all of English descent, what does that matter? What does it amount to? Nothing. Britain being now an open enemy of the American colonies extinguishes every other name and title. And to say that reconciliation is our duty is truly farcical. The first king of England of the present line, William the Conqueror, was a Frenchman. And half the peers of England are descendants from the same country. Wherefore, by the same method of reasoning, England ought to be governed by France. And there's nothing more insulting to Englishmen than being like, you should be French then. You sound very French to me.
Yeah.
And it's freaking everybody out. And so then he points out that every time England goes to war, it fucks up American trade. So he just says neutrality is the best option. Because we should fight with England and then we should be neutral to the rest of the world.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice. It would be nice if somebody looked around and realized that war keeps fucking us up.
Yeah.
But he does acknowledge and say that we need war in America.
Okay.
Because it's already started.
What war?
The revolution.
Okay.
Because the thing is people keep looking at it right now as a rebellion.
Yeah.
They keep looking at it right now as just, a kerfuffle, some mob violence. But he looks at Lexington and Concord and the siege of Boston, and he tears their bandage off of it.
Yeah.
And he turns to the public, and he says to them, how can you go back to saying it'll go back to normal after what has already happened? And he said it with the following passage. Men of passive tempers look somewhat lightly over the offenses of Britain and still hoping for the best are apt to call out, come, we shall be friends again for all of this. But if you say you can still pass the violations over, then I ask, hath your house been burnt? Has your property been destroyed before your face? Are your wife and children destitute of a bed to lie on or bread to live on? Have you lost a parent or a child by their hands and yourself, the ruined and wretched survivor? If you have not, then are you not a judge of those who have? But if you have, and still can shake hands with the murderers, then you are unworthy of the name of husband, father, friend, or lover, and whatever may be your rank and title in life. You have the heart of a coward and the spirit of a sycophant.
Bars.
Then that moment.
Because these people, they killed your dad.
Yes. They killed your dad.
It's like
they burned your house down, and you're gonna now go break bread with them?
They kidnapped your neighbors.
Yeah.
They molested your children. They did all these awful things, and then I'm sorry. After the next cycle of elections, we're just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna forgive this person.
Yeah.
Come on.
They shot her in the head on camera. They called him a domestic terrorist. They robbed them. This is exactly what he's calling out. And in that moment, when I read that, I had to take a walk, and it was very hot outside. And maybe you need to take a walk too. So we'll calm down with his next sponsor. Stop telling yourself you're gonna take it easy this summer. Actually do it with IndaCloud. It's 4th of July weekend. There's fireworks going off. Does that scare you? They give you anxiety? Are you literally a dog? Whether you're watching the World Cup or enjoying the sunshine, IndaCloud has everything you need to kick back and have fun. Look at some of this stuff. Okay, no, it's not coming. All right,
it's not working.
Hold on, it's gonna.
You thought it was gonna be cooler than it was.
It was supposed to look smooth. Look.
Okay, wow. Look at all these.
We got
things.
dope ropes.
Dope ropes.
Many flavors.
This one seems interesting. It's called IndaCloud Bliss Gummies. A perfect night every night. It's got melatonin and THC.
This one's called Purple Punch.
What's that?
It's a pre-roll.
Ooh.
They got fat pre-rolls and high-quality flour. THC cereal bite edibles. Perfect for a day on the couch. And just trying to forget that you're actually a dog, that you're not actually a person. All IndaCloud products are federally legal THC. Everything sold is DEA certified and lab tested. If you're 21 or older and a new customer, go to indacloud.co. That's .co, not .com. And use codes TABS for 30% off your first order. That's indacloud.co. Code TABS for 30% off all month long. Shipped discreetly to your door. Plus, free shipping on orders over $50 and $30 in free gifts on qualifying orders. After you order, fill out the survey and tell them Too Many Tabs sent you. Enjoy responsibly, and thanks, IndaCloud. Now, Mrs. B, again, it's a 47-page pamphlet. And I've only covered the first two sections. There's two more, and these are actually much quicker.
Okay.
Because he begins to point out that London is 3,000 to 4,000 miles away, and it takes 6 months plus to get an answer from the British government.
They can't even get to us.
He's like, they really can't. He's like, they're too far away. And he's like, eventually this whole system's going to fucking collapse.
Yeah.
Because we got to write a letter, put it on a boat, send the boat over, have them read it, have them go, wait, what do you mean by that? Send it back.
He's
back
like, let's just go no contact.
It's 100%. So what he says is he goes, we should just do it. We should just declare independence right now.
Yeah, let's go.
And he then starts to speak to probably the dumbest argument I've ever heard that probably spoke to the most people.
Okay, let me
It's
hear
the
it.
simplest argument for an American Revolution.
Oh my God.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
There is something very absurd in supposing a continent can be perpetually governed by an island.
He said, you bitches are little.
That's literally what he said.
What are you gonna
He's like
do?
Great Britain, more like Little Britain.
Bitch, you're on an island.
He's like, we're a continent.
Baby.
We're a continent and you're
and they didn't even know how far it went.
He even
They
goes
didn't
on-
even know that California was that far away,
They
dude.
didn't even know California existed.
That's what I mean. They
He
didn't even know.
At one point, there's a line, I didn't write it down, but there is a line, and he's like, planets aren't governed by moons, right? So fucking, what are we doing here? He just like, it's such a stupid argument. I can tell you, I guarantee you, 10% of people who heard that was like, he's right, though. He's right.
No.
We are bigger.
No, that, okay,
We are bigger.
I need you to stop because so many people in this country, the United States of America, don't have great reading skills or interpretation skills or critical thinking skills. And because of that, they lack a certain ability to understand context and nuance and things like that. So I think we steal this and we make it our pitch in the next election cycle.
Yeah, we're bigger.
We're bigger.
We're bigger.
We're bigger, bitch.
Hey, welcome. We're bigger. This has been one of the issues. We're bigger does work.
Yeah.
It literally, I mean, I have the Trump low prices, Kamala high prices sign right over there.
You just need
which
simple.
insanely worked. You have to be caveman language.
Yeah.
Paine, after that line, then lays out the idea of a
Oh,
democratic.
I'm just going to be like whoever the next nominee is
Yeah.
for president. If it's a woman or a man, I'm just going to be like, dick's bigger.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Dick's bigger.
Yeah. Knows how to swing it. That's it.
What's that? What's her name? The lady that you almost opened for at the strip club back in the day. Okay, She had intercourse with the president of the United States, and then he sued her because she told everybody about it.
He had a toadstool dick.
Yeah, she said he had a very small penis.
Yeah, she said it looked like the toadstool.
What was her name? Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, you almost opened for her.
Yeah,
but
there was
then
a
she
minute.
had to cancel her tour for safety reasons.
Yes, because the local sheriffs were raiding every club that she went to.
Yeah.
And that was, and people were like, oh, that's as about tyrannical as it gets. Oh, buddy.
Oh, buddy, not yet.
Nope. Let's get back to Thomas Paine in 1776 real fast.
Okay.
Though. I'm sorry. Paine lays out a democratic Republican form of government.
Okay.
And this is one of the big issues. And actually, one of the things that he goes out of his way in this whole entire pamphlet. Even though Paine is anti-slavery, he never brings it up.
Okay.
Because specifically, he's like, I need the colonies to be together. And also, he is very pro-democracy. But at the time, a lot of the conservatives and elites in America were anti-democracy. They were pro-republic.
Got it.
But they really had like a very specific idea of more of an oligarchy that they wanted of the rich guys that were already running everything to keep running everything.
Because they were building lawns.
Yes. So he never uses the term democracy, but he pushes for democracy in this pamphlet.
Got it.
And he says that this should be what replaces the tyranny of the monarchy. He also then demands that America immediately build a navy, and he points to the Terrible and William Death as an example. Because look how cool that fucking is.
That is cool.
Wouldn't it be cool if we had a navy? But
Yeah.
throughout it all,
Well, again, because they can only get to you by the water because they're an island on the other side of the globe.
Yes.
So you really just need a navy to stop them in the water.
yes, that's basically his big part.
That
of
doesn't
it.
make sense.
He's like, what he does is
We're bigger than you and got boats. Boom.
Yeah, throughout it all, Thomas Paine keeps pointing out that they cannot go back. He's like, there's no turning back. We
Yeah.
can't go back to how things were in the 1740s.
We can never go back to
We
2016.
have to go to the future, and we have to do it together. And he says, quote, to begin government at the right end. And finally, his last argument that he really pushes is a pragmatic reason onto why they should declare independence.
Okay.
A big part of it is that as long as they are officially British, this moment, this issue will always be considered an internal British issue to the rest of the world.
Okay.
So they can't ask for help
Got it.
no one will show up in a domestic.
Yeah.
So he said, if we declare that we are independent, then we're no longer rebels.
Yeah.
We're our own nation. So he closes with this passage. These proceedings may at first appear strange and difficult, but like all other steps which we have already passed over, will in a little time become familiar and agreeable. And until an independence is declared, the continent will feel itself like a man who continues putting off some unpleasant business from day to day, yet knows it must be done, hates to set about it, wishes it over, and is continually haunted with the thoughts of its necessity.
He's like, it's your chores that you've been putting off.
Yeah, it's literally it's me doing the taxes every year. He's like, until you do this, it's gonna bug you.
It's gonna be on the weight on the back of your neck
Every
until
fucking day.
You just do it.
Yeah. He also points out throughout this entire thing, he's like that this is the perfect time for America to do it because we're not that well developed yet.
Yeah.
He's like, we have if you look at America now and you pull up a map and you look, especially America at night, and you can see the lights.
Yeah.
You notice basically to the Mississippi now, everything is covered.
Yeah.
And if you go up to the Northeast, it's megalopolis. From DC all the way through Boston, it's completely developed. He's like, we won't be able to defend this in the future.
Yeah.
He's like, right now, we have some small seaside towns and some cities. We can put our forces in specific places, and the British have to cross all this empty land to fight us.
Yeah.
In the future, they'll just be going from suburb to suburb.
Also, because, and this is kind of not a nice way to think about it, but they don't have a lot to lose because they don't have, a lot of really well built up cities and yet
infrastructure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of infrastructure yet. And so if it all gets blown into shit, they'll only have to rebuild so much.
Yeah, 100%. So Common Sense, the pamphlet.
Yeah.
Psychological bomb on the American colonists.
Yeah.
After its publication,
He dropped the Paine.
He did. He welcomed to the halls of pain. Okay. After its publication, the idea of reconciliation among most Americans who were in discussion, obviously not the loyalists,
Yeah.
because not everybody, but not the loyalists, but for most people, like reconciliation, if you brought it up, they're like, "Oh, fuck you."
Yeah, fuck you.
You know what I mean? It was just that moment of like we've crossed the Rubicon. The common people could finally now put into words the idea of independence. Until this moment, again, rich people with a lot of education, people who were, in their letters, they knew how to talk about this.
Yeah.
But again, some dude who's a barrel maker,
Yeah.
he didn't know what the fuck. He didn't know quite how to say it. But now everybody had the words of Tom Paine. And conservatives in the Continental Congress are looking around because the first Continental Congress already happened.
Okay.
And the second one was coming.
Sure.
And or just begun. And they're looking around and they're realizing that they're about to lose control of the very movement that they started.
Classic.
Because again,
Classic
they
America.
were trying. Because remember, a lot of the founding fathers, and Thomas Paine again was a customs officer, excise officer.
Yeah.
A lot of the founding fathers were smugglers. A lot of them were mad. Again, the taxation that they were bitching about was the ones that they didn't want to pay.
Yeah.
And so the stuff that they found intolerable was them paying for their own fucking defense. And Tom was like, all right, bet, we're not paying for our fucking defense anymore. Fuck you. Also, while we're at it, what about religious freedom? What about direct democracy? Yo, I got an idea. No kings. Let's get rid of hereditary landlords. And they were like, oh, fuck. So
Yeah.
he's just out here spitting fucking bars.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I love that so much.
Loyalists, on the other hand, they lost their mind completely reading the pamphlet.
For sure.
Ironically,
They're Fox Newsing.
yeah, they 100% were. There was a rebuttal pamphlet written to Common Sense. It was titled Plain Truth, and that was like very funny.
That's the most Fox News response.
Plain Truth.
Plain truth.
So here's the funny thing about Plain Truth.
What?
It was the original draft title of Common Sense.
Damn.
He was originally going to call it Plain Truth, and another guy was like, call it Common Sense. It's a better name.
Yeah.
And he went with it, and then they're like, all right, well, you got some common sense. Well, I got some Plain Truth. And they was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote it is from Maryland. He called Paine a political quack.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Quack. And he also said that a government without a king would degenerate into democracy.
Oh, no, not that.
Because if you don't have a king, you're just going to end up with a democracy. That's terrible.
Oh,
Because to them,
no.
they view democracy as the same as anarchy.
Yeah.
Because again,
The way that Republicans now think about socialism.
well, it's the same way the Republicans now bring up all the time that we are not in a democracy. We're in a republic.
Yeah.
They bring it up a lot, and they say it in a very specific way.
Yeah, because they're just trying to say that they're getting rid of our voting rights.
Yes. So John Adams, you know John Adams?
Yeah, I said. Oh, I was thinking of Sam Adams because we were talking about Boston.
that's the
John
beard.
Adams, different Adams. Guy.
That's a different Adams. He was in the movie. They had the HBO miniseries with him. Paul Giamatti.
Oh, right, I remember that.
Yeah. John Adams hated Common Sense.
Yeah.
He fucking hated Thomas Paine. He hated him so goddamn much. Adams was a conservative, but you know who did like Thomas Paine?
Who?
John Adams' wife, Abigail. She fucking loved it. She quoted it in letters. And the thing is Common Sense was written anonymously.
Yeah.
People eventually figured out it was Thomas Paine, but like they had no name on it.
Yeah.
And Abigail kept written to John, like, yo, who the fuck wrote that? Yo, can you find out who wrote that? I bet whoever wrote that's really cool. And the whole time John Adams, you could feel him like stewing, be like, shut the fuck up. But
That's me being like, yeah, that comedian had a great set. You're like, sure.
it's like what we said before, though, like how every guy who's like a radical or like somebody out there, like always has like a wife who is like 10 steps beyond him. And she was. Abigail Adams was like a radical feminist Democrat.
Yeah.
At one point, Abigail wrote to John, quote, "In the new code of laws, which I suppose it will be necessary for you to make, I desire that you remember the ladies. Do not put such unlimited power into the hands of husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could," which is a Thomas Paine quote. "If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we're determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws which we have no voice or representation."
Hell yeah, bitch.
That's just straight up, just like Lady
I like
Paine.
her. Yeah, Lady Paine. Oh, Lady Paine.
Lady Paine.
I'm not picturing merch right now. Yes, I am.
Oh, no.
It's like a picture of John Paine. It says like Lady Paine with an E at the end.
Yeah. So Adams reacted to Common Sense with his own pamphlet.
Okay. We're having pamphlet wars?
Yeah, no, this is pamphlet.
Oh,
Hey,
so this is a TikTok discourse.
it's this TikTok discourse.
Christian Divine has stepped into it.
Yes, everyone is stitching everyone. They're stitching. The elder millennial is there, that piece of shit. He hasn't been tased and pissed himself yet. But there's like so many things that are happening. So he writes a pamphlet, and his pamphlet is called Thoughts on Government.
Okay, got it.
Now, what he calls
More like
for...
thoughts on government. Well, that's a good TikTok handle.
Okay. So thoughts on government, the big thing he really pushes back on is that Tom Paine has no checks and balances in his idea for a more representational democracy.
Okay.
He pictures it's something like 300, a 300-seat Congress, that each state has a certain amount of representatives that they're allowed to send. And then there's every year that the president or governor is chosen every year by lot.
Yeah.
So basically what they do is each of the 13 states will be allowed to draw a lot.
Okay.
And then whoever wins,
All right.
they get to then choose out a representative who's going to be the governor.
Okay.
And then everyone else votes yay or nay on that.
Sure.
And then when when the next one goes, they're not allowed to enter in until everyone gets a turn.
Okay, fine. Who wrote this again? John Adams?
No, that's what Tom Paine wrote. That was Tom Paine's idea for government.
Okay, but you said that John Adams wrote.
John Adams wrote a separate one. He came up with a bicameral legislator. He wants a House of Representatives and a Senate. He wants a separate executive branch, and he wants the independent judiciary. John Adams basically lays out the federal government that we have today. The one that sucks.
Yeah, the one that sucks.
The one that sucks shit.
But so what you were saying at the beginning of that was that he read Tom Paine's pamphlet.
Yeah.
And he immediately was like, no, you're not describing how this government's going to work the way I think it should.
Yeah.
And so he wrote an angry pamphlet back, which in my brain I cannot get past because it is that exact thing that drives me insane on the internet right now, which is people like, oh, I have this idea and this thought about this very specific topic. And people are like, you haven't answered it completely fully. And you didn't say this one thing that relates to it. And it's like, we're allowed to have dialogues. Like, he's clearly the type of person who's starting dialogues and conversations.
And the thing is Paine did have, this was part of a dialogue.
Yes.
So this is a series.
I'm just mad because this guy's being like a comment section. He's being souping. He's bean souping.
John Adams is bean souping.
Yeah.
But John Adams is picking part of the 4 points that he made, and he's really drilling on this one, specifically on
he's strawmanning it?
No, he's not strawmanning it, because strawmanning is inventing an entire other argument. He is bringing up a thing, though, that Tom Paine did not see coming.
Yeah.
Which is the idea of that a democracy, which we've seen happen many times, can be overthrown by a strongman easily.
Yes.
And you do need to have checks in the government. Our government now would work if we actually use the checks that we had.
What do you mean, Supreme Court, Congress?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is we're stuck right now in a one-party government, which is bending over completely to allow the executive to do whatever it wants. There weren't enough checks in that sort of way because they always assumed, Tom Paine would have assumed, that people would have fought against it a little bit more. He assumed that if you have more education, if you have more common ideals, other things along this nature. He also didn't expect a South African Nazi to buy Twitter and then send AI bots at everyone with Mecha Hitler. There's a lot of stuff that wasn't predicted.
Okay, then what happens?
Okay, so after this, he keeps writing letters to everybody, and the pamphlet sells incredibly well.
Nice.
He does get into arguments with printers about the sale.
Yeah, they gave him a strike on TikTok.
Yeah, they gave him a strike on TikTok, which I have 2 of right now. But they go back and forth for a minute on this, right? And when he finally gets some money, he sends all of it to General Washington.
Oh, okay.
And he says, buy the boys some mittens, because it's cold.
That's nice.
He literally does. He takes all the money that he makes from common sense and he dumps it all right back into the war effort. Because at this moment, we have a continental fighting force.
Yeah.
There is the Continental Army, and they are currently fighting and moving all around. And so the Continental Congress is trying to decide of whether or not to disband Washington or keep it going. And he's like, here's some money. And he keeps talking up Washington. Paine then urged the Continental Congress to come up with a name for the country. He's like, you should declare independence, and then you should call yourselves the United States of America. He wrote this by using the handle Republicus in the Pennsylvania Evening Post. He noted that the revolutionary leaders kept talking about the United Colonies as United States. And he goes, I like that, United States of America. Done. And he just printed it. And so he's not the only person to say that name.
Yeah.
But he allegedly is the first one to get it in print.
Listen, first one to get it in print wins.
That's 100%.
First lie wins. We learn anything.
First lie wins. Yeah, he says in here, we cannot offer terms of peace to Great Britain until, as other nations have done before us, we agree to call ourselves by some name. I shall rejoice to hear the title of the United States of America, in order that we may be on a proper footing to negotiate a peace.
Hell yeah, dude.
The warhead, like in his mind, is like, yeah, wait, but listen, he's already planning for peace.
Yeah.
And peace isn't going to come for like another 7 years.
Well.
They got some time. Some claim that Thomas Paine may have helped Thomas Jefferson write the Declaration of Independence.
Sure.
There is a note on one of the copies of the Declaration of Independence. On the very back, it says, quote, a beginning perhaps, original with Jefferson, copied from original with TP's permission. And a lot of people think that the TP is Thomas Paine.
Oh, for sure it is.
But also that note was written by John Adams. So everyone's like, because again, fucking
They're
hate
such
each other.
bitches.
They hate each other.
I love they're such little bitchies.
This is the thing is everyone looks back.
They're in their wigs with their bows on, with their little high heels and capris.
The bows are on the back.
The bows are in the back. And they're just like, no, I bet T-Pain did it. Oh my God.
T-Pain?
Yeah.
I'm on a boat. Okay. So immediately, when the Declaration of Independence was adopted 250 years ago on July 4th, 1776.
Let's go.
And Thomas Paine joins the army at 39 years old.
Oof, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately.
My knees cracked.
Immediately.
Yeah.
The war goes to shit.
Oh, boy.
It's bad pretty quickly, pretty rapidly. Washington's army was in retreat from New York by November, and they were stationed in New Jersey and then across the Delaware. A cold winter was setting in. Soldiers began talking of defeat, and Congress by this point had fled from Philadelphia, fearing that the British were about to invade and take the city.
Yeah.
But Thomas Paine, he don't know how to quit.
Nope.
He's never heard of L's. He don't take them. You know what he writes, baby?
What?
Double U's. Because back then they used to write 2 U's.
Got it.
It wasn't a single letter yet. That was the different thing that came up a little later. He wrote double U's. And he sat down one night at his army camp, and he used a drum as a desk.
Okay.
And he wrote with a pen by the light of a campfire. And he wrote these words. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Baby still sleeping?
He did toss and turn a bit.
Did he roll?
He
Yeah,
rolled
legit,
over.
he rolled over.
He rolled over.
Oh, he heard the revolutionary words of Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy Thomas Paine. So he shows these to the general that he was with.
Yeah.
And the general's like, yo, that shit's fire.
Yo, dude, let's go.
He's like, you need to print
You
that.
gotta bang on the drum while you say this.
Dude, he was like, you need to print that right the fuck now.
Yeah.
And so Thomas Paine rushed back to Philadelphia.
Sure.
And he found a printer, and he wrote out a new pamphlet that was published in the Philadelphia Journal, and it was titled The American Crisis.
Got it.
All right, and it was published in the Pennsylvania Journal on December 19th, 1776. It was basically a TikTok propaganda edit. It was a fan cam, babe.
It was a fan cam.
And it kept America in the war. This hit the soldiers like crack. All right? The day following its publication in Philadelphia, General Washington himself, got copies of the paper, read it, and he goes, you make everyone read this. There's like, what?
Yeah.
He ordered all of the troops to read it. And the ones who couldn't read, he had it read to them.
Yeah.
And he did that while he prepped them to cross the Delaware, the frozen Delaware,
Yeah.
on Christmas to murder German mercenaries in their bed, which they fucking
Yeah,
did.
they did.
Yeah, eagle noises. Yeah. That's right. We murdered troops in their beds.
There's a really famous painting of it.
That's the painting you know is George Washington committing war crimes.
Yeah.
That is it. That's him standing on that boat. That's him. He's like, they're sleeping. Shh, the Germans are sleeping. Stab. Yeah, but that victory at the Battle of Trenton and retaking Princeton and everything was very important because that was like they finally had a W on the board, and they were like, all right. It's not a sweep. Like, hey, I don't hear no
we
bell.
only lose when Trump's here.
Yeah. So in total for the American Crisis, it's a series of pamphlets. There's 16 total pamphlets.
Okay.
Because he keeps writing. He writes, and they're like open letters. Some of them are to the British generals. And again, they're all propaganda pamphlets.
He
Some of
has
them are
a
to
blog.
people.
I get it.
Yeah, he does. And he's like cutting different ones to different people. They explain to the colonists, though, that this is a total war and that all of the colonies rise and fall together.
Yes.
Reminding everyone that. The works boosted morale and enlistment. And he wrote this all feverishly over the entirety. The last one's in 1783 when they finally reached the peace accords. And he even writes them as he travels to France as part of official delegations where they ask the French for money.
Okay.
And so he was part of the official delegations to France and others. And it was a big deal. This was a big deal. These pamphlets are the second thing that he's really, really well known for. And so in a lot of books, when you're reading about the American Revolution, he comes up for American Crisis because his words, we think about a lot of the founding fathers, but it's really, these are the words that speak to the common people.
Yeah.
So when you go and you look at stuff like from the 60s, right? And you think about what the soldiers are listening to, they're listening to Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
They're listening to the Mamas and Papas. They're listening to soul music and normal stuff. They're not listening to orchestral music and opera.
Yeah.
And that's like the type of shit that fucking Nixon's listening to. You know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of where this is. This is again for the common troops, for the common people, is what kept them in.
Yeah.
And made sure that they too would push back against the British.
The way that I listen to Flow Rider and Kesha.
100%. And you know what, Mrs. P?
Yeah.
We're gonna flow ride right to this break. So, Mrs. P, it's 1783 and the war is over.
Oh, thank God.
United States of America has been founded.
Must be Thursday because the war always ends on Thursday.
No, the war ends on war ends on Sunday nights.
I thought it ends on Thursday, so that then it happens again over the weekend, but we pretend we don't know.
No. That means the war starts.
Oh.
The war starts Friday. You're talking about Iran.
Yeah.
The wars start every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, when the market's
and
closed.
They end right before
Market's open.
Right before market's open. So it's like late Sunday, except when there's a long weekend.
Yeah, long weekend.
Yeah, long weekend. I mean, who knows? We're recording this before July 4th, so everybody's got the 3rd off. Except Mr. Third, you keep working. So now you take time, Mr. Third. If you're a little late, you got to answer angry comments. So when the war ended, Thomas Paine is famous and broke.
Wait, why is he broke?
Because he donated all of his pamphlet money to the war.
God damn it. You just got to buy a mansion and be rich.
No. So now that he's done, he then turns to the new government. And he goes, hey, guys, I'm not saying that you wouldn't have won without me. But I helped.
But
Maybe
I'm the voice of the people.
I'm the voice of the people. I'm the Bob Dylan of my age.
Yeah.
Maybe you should, give me some money. And he ran into a major issue.
What's that?
Well, the first issue was the Articles of Confederation.
Sure.
That's what we had before the Constitution.
Yep.
The Articles of Confederation, there was a big issue with them, and the biggest part was that each individual state controlled the money, and there was no centralized government. And so you basically had to go to each individual state and beg for money.
Got it.
And he had pissed off a lot of people. Paine had pissed off rich people, conservatives, slave owners,
the
elite of Philadelphia, the entire state of Virginia, and a New York lawyer named Governor Morris.
Yeah, but who hasn't?
By the way, his name was Governor Morris.
His name is Governor?
Yeah, his name was Governor.
That's crazy.
He's a piece of shit. He's the worst, man. He's such an asshole. He's such a dick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody looked at a newborn infant and was like, Governor.
Governor. I'm going to give you the title that you should get.
Governor.
So it should be noted that in most of these conflicts, with everything I listed here, Paine is right. I just want to be clear about that. But he's such a stubborn dick about it. So the issue we had with Governor Morris is there was an issue where this friend of Governor Morris was working in the French delegation.
Okay.
And was basically, there was like a bribery scandal, which is kind of like how things were supposed to get done, but Paine went too hard about it. And he was like, you were a dick about it. You didn't have to keep bringing it up so much. And then for Virginia, Paine was like, hey, Virginia, you're too big. You should give up your Western territories. And Virginia was like, no, fuck you. And he's like, you should give up your West. That you don't need all that extra stuff. You got too much.
That area that we now call West Virginia?
Yeah, basically. He was like, you should give that up. And that didn't happen until the Civil War. And then rich people, obviously. Conservatives, obviously. Slave owners, obviously. The Philadelphia elite is because Thomas Paine basically did a Hassan Piker and like used like the almost the equivalent of like the Pennsylvania DSA to rewrite the Pennsylvania Constitution and set up this new form of government that everybody fucking hated. So it was a whole thing. He made everybody mad, but he had 3 really close friends.
Okay, we got Benjamin Franklin. I know
Yes.
that much. Who else?
Thomas Jefferson,
Tommy Jeff.
George Washington.
Okay, so he's got big baller friends.
Big friends.
Yeah.
So these 3 work really, really hard, and they were able to get Thomas Paine $3,500 and a farm in New Rochelle, New York.
Nice.
Yeah, the farm was like a loyalist farm.
Okay.
But he ran away, and they're like, all right, we'll just give that to Tom Paine. And New Rochelle is like just north of New York City.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, they gave him like this like, all right,
That's nice.
It's like a 100-acre farm.
I want a 100-acre farm.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, that's what he got. So he gets all of this, and Thomas Paine is like, all right, I guess I'm done. I guess I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna get into like.
He's not gonna, because I can tell by this energy that he's not. He's gonna sit and his legs gonna shake and he's gonna tap on stuff. Because
No, he's
he has
super
lots of
into science.
He has stuff.
He gets into engineering.
He has stuff he needs to say.
No, listen. He gets into engineering, and he designs an idea for an iron bridge that's going to go over the Schuylkill River outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But he needs money,
Yeah.
and there's no money.
There's no money.
Everybody's broke.
Yeah, because
they
there
won
was
the
a war.
revolution, but everybody's broke.
You're broke after the war.
Yeah, so Thomas went and he hit up some friends of his, and he got in a boat,
Okay.
and he left, and he went to go visit London and Paris.
After everything he said.
After everything
He's
he
got
said,
balls of steel, dude.
so in April of 1787, he left. He sailed out of Philadelphia for London,
Sure.
and he was like, "I'll be back in a year."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't come back in a year. He goes over and he starts hanging out with the Marquis de Lafayette, who was a famous general from the American Revolution, who was a French officer who came over and worked closely with General Washington.
Yep.
So he's working with Marquis de Lafayette, and he's also hanging out with Thomas Jefferson, who is in France.
Why is he there?
Because he's just hanging around. There's revolution in the air in France, and again, at this point, the United States and France are very close and the French are like, this shit rules. You guys defeated the English, and they're like, yeah, fuck the English, baby, woo, 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 and everybody's like being cool about it. So he's like hanging out. He's just like hanging with them, drinking. They're asking rich nobles and banks for bridge money. When on July 14th, 1789, the French people stormed the Bastille and start the French Revolution.
Oh, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No, he was in the right place at the right time because he was over in London when he heard about this. And he went, excuse me, what was that? So it should be noted that there was a very famous interaction between Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Paine. There's this quote that's posted a lot of places. Benjamin Franklin said, "Where liberty dwells, there is my country."
Yeah.
And apparently Thomas Paine replied, "Where liberty is not, there is my country." Because basically, Thomas Paine is like Trotsky. He believes in the eternal worldwide revolution. He didn't think that the American Revolution was the end. He thought it was the beginning. And so when he saw the French rising up and overthrowing the king, he was like, let's fucking go. Who's next? England? And he just lost his shit. He was like, woo! He turned into like Ric Flair. He's like, another one, another one, another one. So he loses his mind. He gets so hype. Revolutions on everything. And the thing is, he's in England. And England doesn't like revolutions.
No.
Obviously, they clearly just lost the American Revolution. They don't talk about it
And his
often.
big shit talker just showed up. The guy who talked all that shit is in their town.
But the thing is you got to remember, too, it's kind of a different algorithm. A lot of Thomas Paine's stuff, some of it did get back to England. And even though it was very treasonous at the time, it was still like, he said it over there. He didn't say over here. So now that he was like back on the island, they're like, well, he won't say it here.
Yeah, so it's like the grandpa down the street that's like, oh, I don't watch Truth Social, so I didn't hear what he said.
100%. It's 100% that. Oh, I'm not on Facebook. It's that type of feel. It was kind of how, like, if you post it on Facebook, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
So, Thomas Paine is in England. The revolution kicks off.
In France.
And an English politician named Edmund Burke thinks that the French Revolution is stupid.
Okay.
So he writes a pamphlet called Reflections on the Revolution in France.
Got it.
Where basically it shits on every single revolutionary idea out there. It defends the divine right of kings. It says that people have no right to food or medicine. It says that people do not have the right to overthrow oppressive governments. It points to private property and prejudice as things that maintain the national order. And it is actually considered the founding document of the idea of modern conservatism. And it sold 30,000 copies.
Bootlickers.
It is, 100%. I've said this before. The idea of conservatism is that hierarchies exist, are natural, and should be maintained. That is, every conservative believes this. Whether it be racial, gender, economic, they believe that everyone is at the point they're at, and that is the choice of God, and if you disrupt it in any sort of way, then that is evil. That is their belief as conservatives. And Edmund Burke goes through this entire treatise of this entire pamphlet, laying this entire idea out. And it is hugely popular among rich people.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, because it's basically prosperity gospel.
It's prosperity gospel.
It's prosperity gospel.
You're poor because you're a sinner.
Yes, 100%.
Not because you're born into poverty.
Yes.
And that we, as the rich people, have stacked every card possible against you.
Yeah.
It's your fault and your burden, and therefore you are in the wrong.
It's not that the king came down and burned down your entire fucking village, or that a famine just happened to happen, or a hurricane came through.
Or there was a famine and we stole all the food for ourselves.
Ireland. All these things that they point to. So there's 45 major literary replies by literary scholars of the age.
Sure.
To Reflections on the Revolution in France by Edmund Burke.
Okay.
There's a lot of different authors.
A lot of discourse.
Yeah. The biggest one is 90,000 words, and it eventually sold 1 million copies. And that book is called The Rights of Man by Thomas Paine.
Oh, he got big mad. I told you he wasn't going to be able to sit down and be quiet.
He ratioed the motherfucker.
He's going to be an engineer. Get out of here.
Baby, he ratioed him. It sold eventually 1 million copies. He's like, 30,000? That's cute.
Bet.
That's a cute amount of likes. Boom. Paine argued that human rights come from nature. Quote, "It is a perversion of terms to say that a charter gives rights. It operates by a contrary effect, that of taking rights away. Rights are inherently in all the inhabitants, but charters, by annulling those rights in the majority, leave the right by exclusion in the hands of the few." Basically, he's saying if some motherfucker says that a piece of paper gives you rights, that actually gives that motherfucker rights who wrote the piece of paper to take those rights away from you.
Yeah.
And he is correct, by the way.
Yeah, because if you give the power to someone to feed you, you also give them the power to starve you.
It's 100%. And it's the same thing what you've seen of like who can crown kings. If a pope can crown the king, then a pope can take the crown off a king.
Yeah.
It's that same general idea. Paine goes on to say even more about the only point of government is to protect people and their inalienable rights. Paine then starts listing reforms that he believes the British government should do. Immediately. Again, he advocates abolishing hereditary titles for the aristocracy.
Yeah.
He pushes for a welfare state, demands free education,
Sure.
care for the elderly through a social security safety net system, the end of poorhouses, and a Europe-wide Republican government revolution that would end all wars and eventually form the basis of the modern European Union.
He called it pretty early, so I'm assuming everybody hates him.
Oh yeah, no, I mean this is a pretty classic leftist shit. You know, he's not wrong, but he is early.
He's as early.
Yeah. So Thomas Paine is looking around, and he's like, people really like this.
Yeah.
Like people in Britain are like, yo, you're allowed to write this?
Yeah.
No, you're not. The British government was immediately pissed off. Immediately, they're enraged. But they didn't want to make him a martyr.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to make a big deal about it. So what they did instead is they hired a guy to write a false biography calling Thomas Paine a drunk.
Okay, but it's London. Isn't everybody drunk?
Yeah, but they were like, he's extra drunk. And the thing is he was kind of known that he was like a mean drunk.
Oh, he was mean.
Yeah, he was mean. He wasn't like everyone was kind of an alcoholic back then. He
They
wasn't
didn't have clean water. They just drink.
He wasn't intemperate in the way that other people were at the time, but they kind of made a big deal of like, they tried to claim that he was like bipolar. They tried to claim he had all these issues. They just spread a lot of lies about him, and then they paid other people to then amplify those lies. Oh. Like a botnet. Like a botnet in a comment section.
He got astroturfed.
He did. Thomas Paine then kept writing.
Yeah, of course.
Because what I described to you, by the way, was the first part. That was The Rights of Man, Part 1. He later released Rights of Man, Part the Second.
Okay.
That's what it was called.
Okay.
That's what they called it back
We'll
then.
workshop that later.
The Rights of Man, Part the Second, which continued dunking on the entire concept of conservative governments and laying out a total utopia. It sold even more copies because it was even more popular. It's like when the season 2 of Netflix comes out of the thing, because everyone had heard about season 1. They wanted to get in early.
Yeah.
And the government officially started moving against Paine and his books. Anti-Painite literature began to spring up all across England. Church and king mobs began to attack Democratic leaders' homes and burn copies of books in mass book burnings.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely going to make people not want to be interested in what's inside of that.
Yep. Paine's writings were officially labeled as seditious. Mind you, the entire time this is happening, the King of England, King George, is literally insane.
Yeah.
He's actually been labeled legally dead because he is having full manic episodes, foaming at the mouth, and talking to trees that he thinks are the King of Prussia.
So you have a person in charge who is demented.
Yes.
And then the people that talk shit about that situation are being silenced.
Yes.
Huh.
Yep.
Wow.
And labeled as traitors.
Yeah.
And being defamed.
Yeah.
And being attacked.
Sure.
Paine responded to the sedition and libel charges as they were being put out against him. Because, again, they weren't, like, sticking yet, but they were just kind of, like, putting things out. Like, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to do these things.
Yeah.
We're going to get you for sedition. We're going to get you for libel. He replied with a banger. And he said, if to expose the fraud and imposition of monarchy, to promote universal peace, civilization, commerce, and to break the chains of political superstition and raise degraded man to his proper rank. If these things are libelous, let the name of libeler be engraved on my tomb.
Bro.
He said, bitch, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
If I'm wrong, bury me with the title, babe.
Put it on me. That's fine.
But
Yeah.
damn.
So it gets to a head. On September 13th, 1792, the poet William Blake warns Thomas Paine that the government is coming to arrest him.
Yeah.
So Thomas Paine fled England, never to return. He never returned because he went to Paris, France.
Oh, okay. Well, Benny Franklin's there probably.
So what he did is he, after he leaves, the British try him in absentia. They're like, yeah, we'll just empty thing. They hold a kangaroo court.
Yeah.
And they try him. They find him guilty of seditious libel.
Sure.
And then they suppress all of his works.
Yeah.
And they basically destroy the entire democratic movement in England for over the next decade or so.
Yeah.
And that's why the rights of man isn't talked about as much anymore because it had this flare up. Everyone was like, this fucking rules. And the government was like, we'll fucking kill you. They're like,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, it seems like maybe if we talk about having rights, human rights,
but
you're
again,
gonna kill us.
you have to remember, this is in England about 150 years after they had a revolution that had the king decapitated, that ended up in a dictatorship with Oliver Cromwell, that ended up being replaced by just them being like, do-over, sorry, we don't know how to work without a king. And now they have sausage fingers sitting there.
Yeah.
They have old sausage finger Epstein list hanging around.
Well,
sorry, brother of Epstein
brother.
list. Well, Mrs. P, we're back. And Thomas Paine has made it to France.
He made it to France.
He did.
Crepes.
And the
Nutella.
Yeah, and more?
Steak tartare.
Steak tartare.
Escargot.
Okay.
Champagne.
Mm.
Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Anyway.
Because the France that Thomas Paine arrives in is very different than the one he left years earlier.
Yeah.
Because, again, remember, he was there. He was hanging out with the Marquis de Lafayette. He's hanging out with Thomas Jefferson. He leaves, goes to London, hears about the revolution. He gets back, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude. Jean Valjean's there going nuts over a loaf of bread.
He gets off the boat in Calais, and immediately he's met by a huge mob of people who are like, guess what, buddy? Couple weeks ago, we made you an honorary Frenchman. We fucking loved your book. Your book rules. You're French. He's like, okay. And we elect you to the government. And he's like, what?
No.
Because here's the thing. He doesn't speak French. But he is now officially a Frenchman and a member of the National Convention.
Okay, all right. This could go poorly if you don't speak the language.
Yeah, well, French people are always cool if you don't speak French. So what happens next was that he started to like hang out. He's like hanging out with like radicals.
Okay.
American radicals, English radicals, Irish radicals.
Sure.
They're all talking about all this different shit that's going on.
They're just in coffee houses having thoughts.
Basically, yeah. But everybody's just sitting around like, revolution's so cool. Oh my God, fuck the king. I hate hereditary monarchy. And he's like, hell yeah, dude. But he gets added to a committee. That committee is supposed to draft the new constitution. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of an issue because Paine is there and they're like, you're such a smart idea with your ideas of liberty and democracy. And he's like, yeah. And he's sitting there and he starts telling them about it. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you were fucking liberal.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
They're in England and America.
He's a leftist.
Thomas Paine is a radical lunatic.
And then
in France,
he's a centrist.
He's a fucking moderate centrist. And so, like, legit, they're like, liberal. Look at this lib. Look at this fucking lib.
Blue MAGA.
You know, 100%. They are, like, screaming at him. What are you talking about? No, we got to go full tilt. We got to get rid of God. He's like, yo, chill. They're losing their fucking mind about everything. And he's just like, this is crazy. There's a group called the Jacobins. They hated Thomas Paine. And one of the big things that actually came up, and that when the big like catalyst moment that happens is when they're arguing over whether or not they should execute Louis XVI, who at this point is known as Louis Capet.
We should.
Well, there you go. You are a Jacobin. Thomas
Okay.
Paine was against Thomas Paine was against the death penalty
Okay.
because he was raised a Quaker.
God.
So he was like, you know what? Honestly, he's like, listen.
But France invented guillotines for a reason.
It's literally one of the things he points out because you guys are a little bit too horny for this new thing. You're a little bit too horny for the choppy. But he says in a big speech, he says to them, he goes, listen, Louis XVI really helped out America. If anything, what you should do is you should just exile him. You should just kick him out, send him to America. And what happens as he's giving this speech, a guy named Jean-Paul Marat stood up and said, Of course Thomas Paine would say this. He's a Quaker. Quakers don't believe in the death penalty. And in fact, I don't think Quakers should be allowed to vote because he's like, you don't have an open mind. You're coming to this with your religious beliefs, and we're against religion.
And we killed God.
So like, you are stupid and we hate you.
Yeah, okay.
And there's even an argument too because he's using a translator. Thomas Paine is using a translator who's translating things into French, and Marat even tries to argue that the translator is lying and trying to make the language more like normal or like saying different things, and Thomas is actually saying even like more moderate, even conservative things.
Yeah.
And that they actually had to have an argument. He's like, no, here's a transcript of the words I was going to say. Like, you can translate them again. And that different person translated that they then trusted. Thomas did vote against it, but Louis was narrowly convicted and beheaded, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
A few months later, Marat then led an insurrection that took all of Paine's political allies out of power and began the Reign of Terror.
Okay.
You know the Reign of Terror with Robespierre?
Yeah.
Where they start chopping people's heads off every fucking day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he really liked the guillotine. This wasn't.
No, we're at choppy time.
Yeah.
They're guillotining people over and over and over again. And ironically, this is actually one of the things that Edmund Burke was like, I'm just telling you right now, if you go down this route, you guys are just gonna start fucking killing each other and there's gonna be a weird dictator. Like Edmund Burke in some ways. And again, so does John Adams. Some of these conservatives, when you look at the push and pull of history and look at some of these examples, there are checks that need to happen.
Yeah.
There are things people do, and many of them, what they argue in the forms of government that they're trying to create, are that people are inherently greedy. Paine believes that people are inherently good. And he keeps thinking that it'll go back to these moments.
Yeah.
He keeps thinking that these are just blips on the road. But basically...
Meanwhile, we're sitting here in 2026 experiencing the same shit.
Basically, yes.
Got it.
100%. So basically at this point, while all of his allies are being arrested...
Yeah, how's my boy?
He's writing a new book. And then one day, Paine... gets arrested by the Committee of General Security. And that is the group that is basically the government at this point.
Yeah.
The Committee of General Security is run by Maximilian Robespierre. And some people, and even Paine himself, believe that actually the United States had a hand in this, specifically the United States ambassador. And his name was Gouverneur Morris.
Wait, his name was Governor Morris.
Yes, Governor Morris, the New York lawyer that he fucking made as an enemy.
Oh my God.
Because what happens is Paine gets arrested and 16 different Americans go to the Committee of General Security and they're like, hey, you should free him. He's an American.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And the American ambassador doesn't say anything about it because it's Governor Morris.
Yeah.
And what the Committee of General Security said is Thomas Paine is actually an Englishman. And we're at war with England. So all Englishmen should be arrested. And so he was. And he was thrown in the Luxembourg prison. While he's going through this entire ordeal, Paine continued to write this new book.
Okay.
And this new book is called The Age of Reason.
Oh, wait, I've heard of this one.
Okay. It's a book about religion.
Yeah.
And it's a book about how Paine is a deist. And he also attacks the idea of organized religion and priesthoods. Because his view was, we've done a revolution against monarchy. We now need to do a revolution against religion.
Yeah.
Because he believed that monarchy and religion go hand in hand.
Yes.
So you have to overthrow a priesthood to overthrow the aristocracy. And that was what his belief was. He opens the book by stating a few things he believes in. And this is a very short version of it. And this got him in a lot of trouble. He wrote, I believe in one God and no more, and I hope for happiness beyond this life. And then he proceeded to write, I do not believe in the creed professed by the Jewish church, by the Roman church, by the Greek church, by the Turkish church, the Protestant church, nor by any church that I know of. My own mind is my own church. All national institutions of churches, whether Jewish, Christian, or Turkish, appear to me no other than human inventions, set up to terrify and enslave mankind and monopolize power and profit. I do not mean by this declaration to condemn those who believe otherwise. They have the same right to their belief as I have to mine, but it is necessary to the happiness of man that he be mentally faithful to himself. Infidelity does not consist in believing or in disbelieving. It consists in professing to believe what he does not believe. By the way, when he says Turkish church, he means Islam.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. He had like no real bearing or understanding of it at that point. This is around the time too in Islam. They called it like Mohammedism.
Oh.
Like it's whisper down the lane for a lot of this stuff for these guys all the way in the Western Hemisphere. Thomas Jefferson had a copy of the Quran and others, but they're translations that again missed the mark on some things. But he was just in general, just like I view all of them the same.
Yeah.
He doesn't even mention Buddhism. He doesn't mention Hinduism because, again, he doesn't have a concept of these things. They haven't really reached him in that way. Through all of 1794, Paine was in the Luxembourg prison awaiting execution.
Oh, they were going to execute. Well, of course, they're choppy now.
Yeah, it's choppy time. Everybody was going to prisons getting their head chopped off.
Yeah. You don't have to keep feeding them, you know?
No. 2,600 people were killed by the guillotine. And in July, Paine came down with a fever. And that fever almost killed him.
Okay.
But also saved his life.
Why?
So basically, he gets this horrifying fever, and it's in July.
Ugh.
And he was sitting around, July 24th, the order of execution is laid out for Thomas Paine. Mm-hmm. But on the night of the 25th, he is laid out with this fever, and his cellmates beg the guards to leave the very heavy cell door open. Because it's a big wood door with a little slat.
Yeah, he
needs
needs
breeze. They say,
breeze.
you leave it open so we can get a little breeze in here.
Yeah.
He has a fever, and we need the fever to break. So they left the door open. And they're like, we're not going to escape. Where are we going to fucking go?
Yeah.
Leave the door open. And the thing is how the guards used to pick up the people they would execute was a guy came through with a list of names, and he would just write chalk on the door. And so the next day, they would come by, and anybody with chalk on the door, they would take them, and they'd chop their fucking heads off.
Yeah.
Well, they came by. Thomas Paine's door was open. They put chalk on the door. And then that night, they closed the door. So the next day, when they came to pick up everybody, his chalk was on the opposite side of the door. They didn't see it. They didn't execute him.
Okay, did that happen again?
No, it didn't need to happen again because that was on the 25th. By the time anyone realized that a mistake had happened and that he should have been executed, on the 27th, Maximilien Robespierre himself was overthrown, attempted to commit suicide, failed, and then was executed himself on July 27th by guillotine, ending the reign of terror.
Bro, what? Are you kidding me?
Meanwhile, he's sitting there being like, nah, I don't know, religion's fake, and then like God saves him by giving him a fever?
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So then another thing shows up to save him. America sends a new ambassador to France.
They got rid of the governor.
They got rid of Governor Morris, and they sent James Monroe, a future president.
I was about to say.
Yeah. So James Monroe shows up, and he works to free Paine from prison. Once he frees him, Paine stays with Monroe as he tries to get better because he's still recovering from his fever.
Yeah. Prison fever in July.
He's got prison
Gross.
July fever. It's like November or even December now by the time they free him. While he's there at the U.S. ambassador's official residence healing, he writes the second part of The Age of Reason, and he was accepted back into the French government again. And then he was part of them trying to like write a new constitution. He got mad about it because they got rid of things like universal suffrage and other ideas that he had. And I think it goes back and forth. But in 1796, Paine finally, his anger had been boiling over.
Yeah.
Because again, the American government didn't try to save him until James Monroe showed up.
Yeah, he had high blood pressure.
Meanwhile, the entire time, Washington was president. Washington's supposed to be
his boy, Washington. President
George Washington. The general who he spelled all those business
left
for.
him to rot in prison.
In his mind, yes. So Thomas Paine writes a letter, an angry letter to George Washington.
Oh, he doesn't subtweet this.
No, he wants to.
He tags him in it.
No, this is a DM.
Okay.
He writes a letter to Washington, and he gives it to Monroe. Monroe like reads it, goes, "I'm not fucking sending this to Washington. You insane?" So he goes around him. He goes like, "Fuck you," and he sends it to Washington.
Yeah.
Washington doesn't respond. So he sends it again to a publisher in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, bitch, I tagged you.
him in it.
Yeah, he did.
Ah!
And Paine attacked the character of the first president of the United States.
Yeah.
Paine wrote that the world will be puzzled to decide whether or not you, George Washington, are an apostate or an imposter. Whether you have abandoned good principles or whether you ever had any. Paine declared that without France's aid, Washington could not have succeeded in the American Revolution and had, quote, but little share in the glory of the final event. He also commented on Washington's character, saying that Washington had no sympathetic feelings and was a hypocrite. He basically was like, you got autism. Basically, yeah. And this was all in 1796.
Yeah.
And he blasts Washington. He's like, fuck you, fuck your bitch, fuck everything about you, blah, blah. But the thing is, Washington's
You
the most...
are a liar. You did chop down that cherry tree.
Washington's the most, like, beloved man in America.
Yeah.
You know, like, he won both parties' nominations, all that shit. He basically, like, he runs opposed, but, like, sweeps the Electoral College. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone in his life is like, do not post that. And he posts it.
His wife is like, please don't post that.
Yeah.
And you're like, but I had a couple Miller Lights and a Fireball. It seems like a good idea.
But here's the thing. Thomas Paine doesn't have a wife to tell him not to post that.
Right.
But James Monroe's wife was like, dude, don't post that. He's like, I'm old and crazy. So
And maybe drunk.
Maybe drunk. So he's still in France for a little bit. And the year 1800 hits up. And he meets this guy named Napoleon Bonaparte. And Napoleon tells him how much he loves Thomas Paine. And he's like, just so you know, I sleep with a copy of Rights of Man underneath my pillow. And he went so far as to say that Paine, there should be a statue of gold erected of Thomas Paine in every city in the universe.
Okay, that kind of goes against everything he said.
Yeah. And then Thomas Paine's like, cool. Yo, you should invade England. He's like, yo, free England from themselves.
Yo.
And Napoleon's like, you rule, dude.
I need you to know, it's the amount of spiteful vengeance he holds towards people that make me understand why you love him so much.
I love him so much. So at this point, it's 1802, and Thomas Jefferson's president.
Okay,
And
his other boy.
And he writes a letter. Thomas Jefferson writes a letter to Thomas Paine.
Oh, okay.
Basically, he's like, hey, man, you should come back to America. You're kind of a problem. He's like, you should come back. But he's like, listen, I'll send a U.S. Navy vessel, and they'll give you a ride back.
Yeah.
This becomes a minor scandal for Thomas Jefferson, because everyone's like, yo, we fucking hate that dude. He talks shit on George Washington and Jesus. Like, what are you talking about? But eventually he does return. Thomas Paine comes back to America in 1802, and immediately he's being attacked by everybody in the public because they're just so mad at him. But also on top of that, when he arrives back, America is now in what's called the Second Great Awakening.
Yeah.
So like during the American Revolution, that's like the age of reason. Like this is like guys, everything's scientific. We're having these different thoughts. Now that they've won the war, they're like, yo, maybe we won the war because God really loves
Maybe
us.
maybe we're the blessed.
Oh, and so people are going like crazy, talking in tongues. A lot of new religions are springing up fucking everywhere. And he's just like, oh, fuck, everybody's nuts.
Yeah, he's been gone so long that the people that are in America don't remember all the pamphlets.
Yeah, well, some people do, like the veterans do.
Yeah.
But like regular people who weren't involved as much, like they aren't thinking. It's a lot of it's like
The
what have you
people
done?
that were little kids, what have you done for me
What
lately?
have you done for me lately? And what he's done for him lately is he's like, yo, fuck, religion's a lie. There is no, there's only one God, and there's probably not even a heaven. His idea of deism is actually that there's a first mover, and they got everything right. He believes that God is so perfect that God got everything right immediately.
Yeah.
So why would God show up again to fix it? And actually, he believes that the idea of worshiping Jesus is atheist because he's like, you're actually worshiping a man instead of God. That's his arguments that he keeps using. And it makes people so fucking mad. In fact, the end of his life, from 1802 to the end, basically like almost once a week, some lunatic shows up to his farm. It's just like, hey, do you want to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? And he's like, no. It's just like every day somebody is writing to him or knocking on the door being like...
Is he back at the farm in upstate New York?
Yeah, he's at New Rochelle.
Bro.
He's in upstate New York, and every day...
And does he have a gun? Because we got property laws.
He's got people.
Because you get enough people coming knocking on your door trying to save your spirit in this way.
Babe, it's constant. It's constant. And here's the thing at this point, though. Here's the thing you need to know.
What?
John Adams still hates him. John Adams in 1805 wrote a letter to a friend of his, named, a physician named Benjamin Waterhouse.
Okay.
And John Adams wrote the following: I am willing you should call this the age of frivolity as you do, and would not object if you had named it the age of folly, vice, frenzy, brutality, demons, Bonaparte, Tom Paine, or the age of the burning brand from the bottomless pit, or anything but the age of reason. I know not whether any man in the world has had more influence on its inhabitants or affairs for the last 30 years than Tom Paine. There can be no severer satire on the age, for such a mongrel between pig and puppy, begotten by a wild boar on a bitch wolf, never before in any age of the world was suffered by the poltroonery of mankind to run through such a career of mischief. Call it then the age of pain.
Okay, number one. He doesn't know what it's like to live through what we're living through right now.
No.
But number two, the age of pain.
The age of pain.
The age of pain?
The whole, mind you, the whole time Abigail's been like, yo, but he was kind of fire though, right?
Yeah.
He's like, this dickhead. It's like,
I bet you one time.
Dude.
I bet you one time she's like, no, but Hassan's kind of handsome though, right? And then he's out here. I see what's happening here.
yeah, 100%. But you know what it is? It's just like all of these Twitch streamers, though. They all, you go back to all of them. They all have these hangouts where they're like kind of friends for a minute. They get what they need out of each other, and then it's just stab. And that was the entire revolution.
Yeah, and I like that he's like, nobody's ever made America worse. Baby, you don't
Wait till you
even
see it be
know.
made great again.
You don't even know.
Oh my God. But I love that he just kept going down. He's like, the age of reason.
Pain is
the age
cool,
of
dude.
pain. Meanwhile, this entire time he's writing the third part of the age of reason.
Okay, great.
Because he's finishing off, because again, he's an old man thing of religion.
Yeah.
And he's 72 years old by 1809, and he dies.
Okay.
Thomas Paine dies at his farm in New Rochelle. He had no children, and only 6 people attended his funeral. His obituary in the New York Evening Post read, quote, he had lived long, done some good, and much harm.
Damn.
Yeah. Quite a few people said if he had written Common Sense and then just died, people would have really liked him. Like, that was fucking good. Common Sense is good. I guess he's kind of like Kanye in that way.
Bro, don't do that.
What? I mean,
No.
to some people. Maybe he was the Kanye of the founding fathers.
No.
Paine requested to be buried in a Quaker cemetery, but that
Sure.
was refused because of the age of reason. They were like, you said fuck you in this whole book. He's like, well, my dad was a Quaker. I'd like to be buried. They're like, no. So he was buried beneath a tree on this property. And 10 years later, his bones were dug up because they were sold to a man who was a writer in England.
Okay.
who wanted to give him a proper English burial and to be like, oh, look at this man. You know, at this point, like, revolutionary ideas are beginning to bubble up again. Like, we're talking about democracy.
Yeah.
And he wanted to build this entire monument to Paine.
Sure.
But that didn't happen. They just sat in a trunk in an attic for 15 years, and then that man died, and then they got lost to history, where they were like passed around. Somebody like carved into one of the leg bones at one point, and eventually somebody claims that there's a jawbone around there somewhere. At some point, somebody did find a lock of his hair and his brain stem, and those were buried back in America. A memorial was built to Paine in New Rochelle, but it was regularly mutilated by religious fanatics, and even after he died. They built like a little thing for him, and they kept attacking it.
Classic.
In 1899, it was fully restored, and they added a bronze bust of Paine to the memorial.
Yeah.
And Abraham Lincoln was a great big fan.
Oh, that's nice.
The end.
Wow. I have never learned so much in such a short amount of time.
I wrote a lot. I wrote a lot. Because you've been writing a lot.
Yeah.
You had a whole gay month, so I was like, let me do one revolutionary founder.
Yeah, a really good one.
Dick, thank you.
I
appreciate
like
it.
the way he yells about stuff.
I want to tell you,
the
the Common Sense is a good read.
Yeah.
It actually is a good read. I think that if you have any interest in the American Revolution, you should. It's a very fast read. I think I read it in like 40 minutes.
Yep.
Because again, if you're reading it on like a tablet too, the pamphlets were like this big. You can find it for free on Kindle or get it from your library.
Listen,
if you go to Libby.
Let's do Pizza Hut, book it. Okay, it's a summer read. Get this, read it, and then go get yourself a pizza.
Yeah, we're not paying for it though. You're buying your own pizza.
No, you gotta go buy your own pizza.
Go buy your own pizza. Get your little personal Pam, however you want. And then sit back. And this is the thing. The thing is that I always do remind myself, because this happened in 2016. It happens like almost every year now.
Yeah.
PBS or is it NPR? One of them, they read the Declaration of Independence, and every year, conservative MAGA people get real mad and assume that they're talking about Donald Trump, when in reality they're laying out grievances against the King of England. But yeah, that's where we are right now.
That's where we're at.
We have a dementia-riddled king. Oh, if you want to know more about the dementia of George III, check out the movie The Madness of King George. It's a really good movie. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And it's harrowing. But beyond that, Miss P, got any final words for everybody beyond reminding them about your ghost hunt?
Go check out my ghost hunt in the link below. Also, we're going on a little break.
We're
taking 2 weeks off, and then we'll be back.
July 26th, we shall return with an all-new episode, Too Many Tabs, but we'll still try to post some content over to the Patreon and other things there. So always join us at pearlmania500.net. Thank you, and have a good night.